Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about Tactical Marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
Hello and welcome to Three Grots in a Vox. Today we are getting started with the Tau. Now they've been out for a couple of weeks. We're starting to see a few tournaments happening. We're starting to get our feel array around them.
Our
We
ass
thought
is
it'd be a
kicked.
good time to take a look at what we think is good, what we're not so sure about, and how we think we get started with it. And killing it, of course, because let's be honest, we all want to beat the Tau, and at the moment they are broken as fuck.
Are they? Are they though?
Not far off.
The top tournament lists articles I'm reading on Goonhammer at the moment still say Custodes and other
Really?
bullshit at the top, and Tau.
I think they're
aren't featuring.
pretty. I mean, we'll get to this later, but I was doing like we did last week with the Custos. I was sitting there talking to a few people, reading a few reports, this sort of stuff, doing a little bit of maths. And with the Custodes, I could find some clear sort of cut. This is what they're weak about. And there's not nearly so much for the Tau on that one. Not anymore. So these are scary fish faces.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I've played them once, and that was a triple Storm Surge list. I mean, we can get into that a little bit into the stream and see how strong we think that is, but I am going to be playing them again, and we've got a list that I'm playing against them this week, so we'll dive into some of those. But I think you guys are right. I think they are very, very, very competitive right now.
I think so. Just for beer fans, I'm going to have to apologise straight off the bat. It's a school night. I've just done a parents' evening. I'm very tired, so I'm on soft drinks tonight. So I've got the lager.
I was going to say, is that alcohol-free lager or no?
Might as well be. What is it? 4.5%?
Okay. Tony taking it light.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's a soft drink.
Also, comments down below for how many people think that Tony's mullet, whatever you want to call it, is getting a bit much there, and what you think he should do with it.
I'm working hard. One day, I'm going to look like Kurt Russell. Only in hair. Everything else is just rubbish. I haven't got quite the same level of physical presence, just more physical size.
Well, I've got baby sick on me, so I mean, we're all.
Let himself go to.
You know, nobody would have noticed that if you hadn't pointed it out.
You're really obsessed.
Someone
with
might have thought it was like a booger or something, but
I
no.
suppose
Trust me.
it's this little radioactive green bit of snot on your shoulder. Yeah, let's be fair.
To be fair, I mean, like, I just put this shirt on like yesterday, and the day before that, baby was sick on the other top, and you get to a point where you're just like, oh god, everything I put on has fucking. It's only when the smell of the congealed milk on you starts to bother you that's when you know you have to change your clothes.
Are you going to the office at the moment? Or are you just hanging around the house smelling of baby vomit?
No, I am going to the office. I will not wear this to the office. I promise you.
Oh, I don't know. That'd be brilliant. Do it.
Yeah.
Just make a point. I've got a baby. Smell the vomit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, let's get into this, shall we?
We shall.
So, we're going to try and go a bit quicker than we did last week. Oh, one last little thing to
But
add to
probably
this.
fail.
This is just a getting started with playing them and with beating them. They're only a couple of weeks old at the moment. If people look at this and they're like, "Whoa, blah, 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 this is better," brilliant. Tell us about it in the comment. Tell us why we're wrong, and then we'll tell you why we're not.
Yeah.
But more importantly, if people are enjoying it, let us know, and we'll do maybe more in depth. Maybe we'll look at the strats more or something like that, because this is just a brief overview.
But we're blatantly not doing any more homework on it than this. All right, it's not going to happen.
I'm a teacher. I don't do homework. I set homework.
Yeah, I was going to say, the nasty comment we got last week about no homework. There's a disclaimer at the start of the video. We're here to have fun and talk about how we win games. If we need to go deeper, we will go deeper.
We get really deep. Grots go deep.
It's a new codex. We want to look into it. We want to try and figure out how it works, find the inner workings of it, work out how to counter it, work out how to beat it as we go along. It's a learning process. It's not a how-to.
Join us on this learning journey.
Exactly, and if you enjoy the learning journey, either hit the like button or subscribe, because both of those really, really help us out, and we do appreciate it.
Okay, so let's get into this. I did a quick overview because I didn't want to waste last time we spent 40 minutes on one slide with nothing on it. So here we go. We've got the 3rd edition artwork because it's awesome.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Was that the first Codex artwork? Or
that was their first Codex, yeah. I bought this. I'm going off on a tangent, but Tau were my first 3rd edition army.
Wow.
And I only ever played one game with them. And they literally come out and I was super excited about it. Like new army, I had other stuff. But I went out to GW. I bought myself 100 Fire Warriors. I bought some broadsides, the old cool ones with the big guns on the shoulders.
Yeah, they were like crisis suits with a little bit of extra armor on and big metal rail guns.
Yeah, they used to fall over all the time. But anyway, I built this army. I took it home. I fully painted it. I brought it into the store for my first game, and I lined them all up, just a gun line, because this was 3rd edition. And I was playing Dark Eldar, because that's what they were properly called. And he came towards me in turn 1, didn't do any damage or anything, but everybody was in range, and all my Fire Warriors rapid fired into his Dark Eldar warriors. So 100 shots. We were still hitting on 4s, but still, you'd expect 50 hits out of that? Wounding on 3s, not bad. She killed some Dark Eldar. They didn't get a save in those days. And I hit 3 times and I killed none of them.
Okay.
And after my first 100 shot, and then my broadsides opened up and killed nothing. And then everything else fired and I killed nothing on turn 1. And I immediately turned around to the store and I said, anybody want to buy an army? And I sold it on the spot during turn 1.
Seriously?
And I never played them again. No. That was the end of that. That's what I call getting a message. That was somebody saying, not for you. Not for you. For somebody else.
Why did you buy them in the first place? Was it the aesthetic,
cool.
the looks, the new?
Yeah, I like the idea of all the flying robots.
Yeah, you're sort of anime flying mech.
I'm not. I've never watched any in my life, but I just like giant robots.
Right.
I'm more of a Transformers and shit fan than like anime things, because I don't understand them. Because whenever I see an anime, everyone's either a schoolgirl or like ancient. There's no middle-aged people in anime, from what I can tell.
You just alienated
old person.
Roughly there is a Commander Farsight model that I bought and painted in the colours of Optimus Prime.
I forgot you did that. You should bring him down.
Optimus Prime. You want me to grab him now?
Yeah, grab him. I remember you showing us this. This is awesome.
Yeah,
question.
With the Autobots, yeah.
When you guys remember back to 3rd edition, right?
Yeah.
Can you actually remember, when you said rapid fire there? I'm just racking my brain. I'm like, what the fuck what even was the rapid fire rule in 3rd edition? Because I
can sort of.
You can't remember.
I used to play tournaments.
I don't remember anything from 3rd edition.
3, 4, 5. I was super in the tournament scene. That is beautiful, Mark.
He's very awesome.
With a little bit of Eldar hull at the bottom, painted sort of Megatron colours.
Love that.
One shall stand.
One shall fall.
The fucking 80s movie is better than all the new Michael Bay shit. Just saying.
Absolutely. Okay, so my overview then. I thought I'd narrow this down.
But we still give us fuel to go off on a tangent for and talk
they're pretty scary. Yeah. They've got incredible mobility. Now, note I've said in mobility rather than speed, because they can be quite fast, but overall it's more about their maneuverability and that's really impressive about them. And the shit in melee.
What's the difference?
It's more like getting across the board is not quite so good as some other armies. But they've got a lot of jump, shoot, jump mechanics, clever movement shenanigans, bring out a deep strike really close, this sort of stuff.
Redeploys, pre-game moves.
Redeploys, this sort of thing makes them very, very mobile, very powerful army. But yeah, and the shit in melee with 2 notable exceptions, of which I'm going to get into later. One of which is Farsight, and that's all we're going to say about him. He's all right. But you're probably not going to take him because he takes up one of your battles commander slots and you've got better things to spend them on.
Unless you're Farsight, because you get to take more commanders if you're Farsighting close.
But right? Even then, it's one of those weird ones. He falls in the same sort of trap as Blood Angels do, where their named characters are not quite as good as characters you can build.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not quite as optimized. Sorry, go on.
Ask, have we got a slide that details the Monka thing?
No.
No. So maybe we should just cover that very quickly then, because
yeah, sure, okay. So army-wide rules then for Tau has the idea of Montcart and Kauyon. So that's the killing blow and the patient hunter.
These are like chapter tactics or something, right?
No, not like chapter tactics at all.
I can put it on screen. Oh, you guys can't see my screen.
More like doctrines.
Yeah, I would say they're like doctrines,
More
right?
like
so
doctrines.
Okay.
Go on.
They get two choices. And Montcart is the one that I've played against. And what that essentially means, each time this unit makes a normal move or an advance in your movement phase, until the end of your shooting phase, it counts as having remained stationary. So they can basically move, they can advance, they can still shoot all their heavy weapons, right?
This is the Alpha Strike buff thing.
It's for battle rounds 1 to 3, and the second part of it is each time a model in the unit makes a ranged attack, if the target is the closest enemy and the unit is within the range table shown below, and the range table is turn 1 18 inches, turn 2 12 inches, turn 3 9 inches, then you basically get to add an additional 1 to the AP of the attack, and you can reroll wound rolls of 1. So, what Tony said about mobility is huge. If you're going to play Montcart, basically what you want to do is you want to move your very fast units, you can advance them, and if you can make like key enemy targets the closest models to you, and that's within 18 inches on turn 1, which is very doable, I guess, if you put your models forward, considering like battle suits move like 8. So you basically have like, if you're within 26 inches before you move, you will basically be able to reroll wound rolls of 1, and you'll get an additional 1 on the AP. Bear in mind that like a bunch of these Tau units now have like all this indirect fire that they can basically shoot at you, and you can't get your cover save. So it's like strength 5 hits, strength 4 hits, -1. And then if you're within 18 of them and you're the closest target, they're now -2. They're rerolling 1s to wound. So there's a shitload of indirect fire that can come out from Tau now. And that's the list that we're going to look at in a little bit that I've shared. And the fact that they're basically -2, you can't get any cover bonus against them, they're indirect, and they reroll hits of 1, like that can be very powerful.
So what's the other one? What's Kauyon?
Yeah, Kauyon, right. So this is, I guess, the way that you see that is that's your Alpha Strike one. Kauyon is battle rounds 3 to 5. In battle rounds 3 to 5, the unit is eligible to shoot in a turn which it fell back. But if it does, until the end of the turn, each time a model makes a ranged attack, subtract 1 from its roll. But, I mean, I guess if you're falling back, you've probably got, like, marker lights in range, so you should be able to probably still be able to reliably hit on 4s, because the marker lights are giving you +1 to hit. And then each time a unit in this model makes a ranged attack that targets the closest enemy within 12 inches, if the model is not within engagement range of any enemy models and did not fall back this turn, on an unmodified roll of the values shown in the table below, an attack scores a hit, it scores 1 additional hit. So in Battle Round 3, it's 6s, Battle Round 4, it's 5+, Battle Round 5, it's 4+. So essentially, now your attacks are bursting against the closest enemy models within 12, and this is actually kind of huge against melee armies, right? So if you know that an army is going to be on top of you, and you're going to need to be falling back, from turns 3 through 5, you get a huge buff to your shooting, and essentially in turn 5, it's like a 50% buff, right? Because every hit you make on a 4+, which is usually what Tower hitting on, is 2 hits. So double your guns, you know, like, so you talk about these big heavy cannons, D3 plus 3, well, just every hit you make on a 4+ in Battle Round 5 is 2 hits.
It's the way it's sort of designed is it's supposed to kind of balance out the fact that by turn 5 a lot of your stuff is dead. Yeah, if half your squad's dead, then you're getting as much as you were at the beginning, and that makes it really quite powerful for trying to clear up at the end of the game. But also it does synergize with some of the warlord traits and things like that, which makes it quite good. But let's be honest, nobody's picking that. We're all picking Monka because we want to blow them all up before they get to do anything.
Well, I think the fact that you can pick is really powerful, right? And I think that's the one thing that I've noticed with all the new Codex releases. If you look back at Codex Space Marines, basically doctrines are pretty they're pretty static, right? There's not that much choice. There's like one turn of choice where it's in turn 2 you either stay in tactical or you go to assault, right? Whereas like all these other armies, like you look at all the stances and stuff that Custodes have, you know, you get like decent choice before the game, and this feels like a very decent choice for Tau. I like it a lot.
Space Marines used to have that choice, and then it got nerfed in successive codices and patches and FAQs.
Because everyone was sitting in Devastator Doctrine for the whole game and blowing everything up with Iron Hands.
Not everyone, just the Iron Hands players, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's the problem with having doctrines globally in the Space Marine Codex with all the sub-factions, but we can go into that another day. But I think these two... I think both of these are really strong. I think used right, you can get a lot of value out of either. As a more defensive player, you guys know me as, I'm probably picking the second one, like the Carry-On. Is that how you say it? Carry-On?
Carry-On.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to try and hold my ground, do a good amount of shooting, and if the enemy does start engaging me in turn 3 to 5, I'm just going to start fall back and burst all those extra hits and hopefully clean up. It's very strong. I like it. I like both of them.
They come across.
Makes me wonder if we'll
see. Can we get on my PowerPoint now?
Massively buffed combat doctrines with the next Codex Space Marines.
You can get on with your PowerPoint now. I mean, I'm looking for a Metal Tau army. I just need to go into Games Workshop and buy one.
A Metal Tau army. Oh god. All right.
Right. Okay. So I've done the overview.
Yes.
Big guns, quick, shit and melee. Couple of exceptions. So where we were last week, if it's going to work for me, here's my top 5 combos and units to look out for. Now, please be aware, this is not the 5 best. They're not in any kind of real order. These are just 5 things that sort of caught my eye and I found quite interesting when I was looking through the codex.
Where's that picture from, Tony?
That was Fire Warrior.
It was.
Which I think was quite good, but everyone tells me was actually just shit. And
I enjoyed it.
Through too many rose-tinted glasses.
It was cool. That was a Fire Warrior called Case. The only thing that I found weird about that game is that you are a single lone Tau Fire Warrior, and at the end, it's you versus a fucking Keeper of Secrets.
Yeah, and there's that bit we fight in a Dreadnought. And you just kept getting bigger guns, didn't you? But the bigger guns were worse than the Pulse Carbine you had second. Because it had the underslung grenade launcher and could kill a Marine in 2 shots. Or anything else, like
the rail rifle was all right. Mini railgun.
You used to dump it, or you couldn't dump it, but you used to just pick up a bolt gun and use that instead.
And it was really atmospheric as well, running through all the trenches and seeing the tanks drive over you.
The fact that you couldn't hit anything and all the bullets went off in every direction.
We're talking about a really old video game here for those who don't know what we're on about.
It was remastered on GOG, if you're interested.
Was it?
It's actually remastered. They sort of fixed it, but it's still a little bit buggy. It plays on your PC.
I re-downloaded Space Marine the other week and started having to go at that, running it at 4K through Steam, and it's really good fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Great game. Anyway, let's crack on because we're going to try and be quicker this week. So at number 5, we have the Storm Surge.
Cool.
I really hate this model.
I quite like it.
Fucking ugly model.
It is a bit, but that's why I quite like it. Now, interestingly, the Storm Surge has had a massive glow up. You can make it really tough. You can give it equipment.
Well, no one took it in the last edition, did they?
Well, they didn't. No,
you never saw it.
Nobody took any Lords of War, though, really. Once they nerfed the kind of Imperial suit, Castellan Knight one, that was the only thing anybody ever took. But anyway, so you can make it in credit. It's pretty tough anyway. 22 wounds, 4 up invuln, 2+ save. It's pretty tough. But also on top of that, you can give it equipment so that it reduces 1 incoming damage to 1, which is nice. Damage 1 from whatever it was. That's pretty powerful. It's only 330 points. I would give it the bigger gun, though. The standard gun, I think, is a bit naff, but the pulse blast cannon's what everybody's talking about. 10 points for a damage 12 weapon.
Yeah, and it's strength 16, so you're wounding armor on 2s.
How does the damage reduction-y thingy work? Is that on the first hit in each turn?
No, it's a strat that you can... So you give it a piece of equipment which allows you access to a strat, then you play the strat for 1 CP, and it reduces 1 hit to damage 1.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Which is not bad. It's powerful.
Do I have a minute to rant about Storm Surges since they are on your presentation?
You just want to rant about everything. Can I finish explaining it, and then you can rant about it?
Okay, keep going.
Right. So, this is its big party piece. It's the big pulse blast cannon. Now, you've got the crazy heavy 2 weapon, but actually the other profile, heavy 6, damage 4, is also pretty scary at 48. Combine that with Borkan, so you can play your strat for a couple of CP and ignore invuln saves, and blow some stuff up. It's not absolutely amazing, but at 340 points in this loadout, it's not so much that you can't chuck one in your list. If 340 points in a CP is not a lot to pay for something with a damage 12 gun,
And it's got racks of rockets and
It's got racks
missiles
of rockets and all sorts of other
other
crap on
extra
it.
little guns and stuff.
It's all about the big gun, though. Really,
Do you know,
they're really quite good. They've gone from shit to they're not an auto take, but they are certainly a good pick for an army, which I think is quite nice actually. I like big stuff.
Go on, John. Get your ant out. You can see it building, ready to burst like a baby
very angry
or
about
something.
this.
It's about to sort of like come out.
okay, so assume we take the pulse blast cannon, right?
Yep.
You then get 2 smart missile systems. So that's heavy 8, strength 5, -1, 1 damage. And again, no cover saves against those, or no light cover saves against that. If you are shooting the models that are within 18, I guess is -2. You also get like what else can you take? You can take a twin airburster fragmentation projector, right? The twin airburster is 2d6 assault, strength 4, -1, 1. Again, indirect fire. Again, there's the ability to ignore cover saves. You can also take a counter defense system.
Yep, that's the one that reduces your damage.
Yeah. Early warning override is another thing that you can include, which is pretty nice.
I love that.
You can overwatch for 0 CP on a 5+. When you have a friggin' heavy 2, 16 strength, -4, 12 damage gun, overwatch on a 5+ is pretty tasty. Killed by Contemptor Dreadnought with a single shot from the overwatch.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Because there's no invulnerable save against that cannon if you pay
That
this.
must have been really painful.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. I mean, Mephiston charged it and killed it, so I mean, there's that. And then I feel like it's got destroyer missiles as well.
Yeah, it does.
So you can shoot 2 of them a turn. They're like strength 12. They're -5. They're 2d3 damage. And like you said, it's 22 wounds and a 2-up, 4-up save.
Yeah.
It can deploy its anchors in the movement phase. Basically, if you don't choose not to move it, you deploy the anchors. You get +1 to hit.
Reroll hits.
Oh, reroll hits. Sorry. So if you mark or light something and then you deploy your anchors, you're hitting on 3s, rerolling everything.
Yep.
I guess, if you combine that with Montcan, you're within 18 inches on turn 1, then you're rerolling 1s to wound as well. I mean, you wound on 2s, right? Usually, it's interesting in that 340 points. I don't think is enough. If you ran 3 of these against a knight player's list, the knight player's fucked. You could kill 2, possibly even 3 knights in turn 1, and that's only half your army because that's only 330.
Do you know
points.
the big thing on this whole thing that I really have a problem with?
Tell me.
How come he gets movement 8?
I was more surprised.
Our box lords can only have a move of 6
because it's got big legs.
But the ginormous. Let me read you from the book, as it were. These vast ballistic suits are ponderous.
Okay.
I mean,
Apparently not that ponderous.
As they want, but if their legs are fucking huge, they can take big ass steps.
Yeah.
Moves 8.
So again,
I'm just upset the Death Company Dreadnoughts can only move 6 now for reasons.
Well, they got short, piddly ass legs compared to this thing.
They're very angry.
Okay.
Can you swap out his flamers or no? It just has flamers.
Yeah, you can. You swap out the flamers for the. So it's got a twin flamer, which I actually like, but I can understand why you want to swap out for a twin air bursting fragmentation launcher or a twin burst cannon.
Okay, so it's got a ridiculous amount of guns. There's one other thing that we need to say just before you get in there. You can add one to the attack roll if for flying models, if you take the velocity tracker.
Yep.
And then when you kill it on a roll of 6, it does 2d6 range, d6 mortal wounds.
It's got a big bang.
Yes.
Which is fairly standard for a super heavy.
Yeah, I'm not quite so worried. Yeah, that seems pretty fair, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, I think 3 of them in a list is obnoxious.
It is obnoxious, but it's also one of those things that's got a bit of a hard counter.
What is that hard counter?
Well, you killed it, John, with your massively underpowered Blood Angels. And that's the point. It means you've got a very limited army. Because remember that none of these guys can hide.
True.
Because they're all Titanic. And you can, because they need line of sight. All right, you can put all the little guns on them, but there's not that many little guns. In fact, the amount of little ignoring line of sight stuff is the same as a broadside for 90 points. or similar to a broadside. We're not talking about huge numbers here, so you can hide from it, but it can't shoot you really, and you can shoot it, which is a big deal.
Does it have an invulnerable save?
It does, 4 up. If you start bringing things like multiple of them, you can only bring just the one counter-fire defense system, or you can only use one counter-fire defense system per turn.
Because it's a strat.
Because it's a strat. So I think bringing one, yeah, sure, I think that's quite powerful. I could say you could bring 2, but I think bringing 3, you're just ending up with such a limited list that I just don't think we're going to see it. I really don't think we'll see the triple storm surge competitively.
No, I think you're probably right. I mean, like one of them hitting on 3s, re-rolling everything.
Because you stick all the stuff into that one guy.
Yeah, and then what you would do is you would play the stratagem experimental weaponry on the plasma burst cannon. So basically what you can do, experimental weaponry, select one model, select one weapon until the end of the phase. Each time a model makes an attack with that weapon, invulnerable saves cannot be thrown, cannot be used. So you've got 2 heavy, strength 16, -4, 12 damage. So even if you're in a 2+ tank, you're only saving on 6, and you can basically kill anything.
And that's what I think you'll see people doing. And 340 points is not that much to invest in it.
The one damage thing you were mentioning a moment ago, what exactly does that affect?
Okay, so let me just find it, and I'll read you the full.
I've got it here.
Have you got it there, have you?
Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. When attack is allocated to a counter defense system model, the damage characteristic of that are changed to 1. If this model has wounds of 14 or more, it's cost 2. Otherwise, it costs 1 C. So like a multi-melt at close range hits you, it's going to be d6 + 2. You just pay your 2 CP, and it's just 1 damage.
But if the multi-melter has 2 shots and hits you with both, it'll only reduce one of those 2.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay,
A single.
cool.
I would assume it's a single.
Brilliant. If a single attack is always
it's a single attack.
Fine. Cool.
Yeah.
So the Eldar Fire Prism gonna fuck it up, which is good.
Well, we're not talking about Eldar today, but they're even going to be even more broken. Anyway, so I think they're pretty good. I think we're going to see maybe one of them in the list. You're going to see the odd meme list where people run 3 of them. And yes, you can. I've checked. You can run 3 of these and 3 hammerheads. 4 hammerheads if you want to run long strike as well. And you don't want to have any friends.
Not the cheese build, no.
But I don't think it's very good. I just don't think that sort of build will actually win. Not at a high level.
It's a meme build. It might be
It's
fun to take.
It'll be funny. And again, if you rock up to your local shop with something like that, don't be expecting to get many games.
Yeah, it'd probably be daunting to face, but I don't think it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tabled the time that we played against 3 Storm Surges, but Andrew was too, Andrew goes aggressive a lot of the games, and I think that these Storm Surges are kind of like, you just want to sit them at the back line and get 2 or 3 turns of shooting from them, and then score your points at the end of the game.
And you just say, I'm going to leave this here with good sight lines, and anytime somebody comes into that line there, it's going to get blown up.
Yeah, and I think they have enough shooting for 330 points where they are obnoxious. Yeah. I was talking to one of the guys in Team Scotland last weekend, and he said that he felt they should be 400, 450 points. So, yeah, I mean, maybe they'll stay at 330.
450 might be a bit too much, but
yeah, I think they're probably at least 10% undercosted at 330.
I think let's get this out of the way now. I think this is a codex. I've been taking the piss a little bit. Is to use the popular vernacular a little bit overtuned.
Yeah, okay, agreed.
As a codex, it's a little bit. It's got great internal balance, which I like, because that means everything in here has got a place, and there's nothing really in the codex apart from maybe the flyer that's total hot garbage. But as an army, it's a bit overtuned, and I hope they knock it back in kind of an Admech style. But we'll see where that goes.
From the other point of view, John, how do you deal with this?
You need to be able to charge from obscuring positions, and even then you're going to get hit with a bunch of indirect fire, because if you're only making 1 charge, right, they're going to use their 5-up Overwatch against you. So, yeah, the way I dealt with it is to try and... I basically reserved all my units as much as I could to keep them out with the line of sights, because, like Tony says, if they can see you, and even if they can't see you, if they're within 18 inches, those -2 and all those airburster indirects are they're obnoxious. So you want to... You kind of need to cover the ground quickly, and I know some people have been saying that I reserve too many units in my Blood Angels lists. but sometimes, like, the fact that they can just shoot off a dreadnought with one cannon and have so many other guns that could just pepper 2 or 3 other squads to death, right? When he's peppering stuff with indirect fire, he's killing whole squads. So hide as much as possible. Cover isn't going to help you. The cover is only going to help you when you make charges and stuff. And remember, if you are making charges into these, charge with something that you can afford to lose first. Charge with your intercessors. So if he is going to overwatch, he kills the intercessors and then bring in your death company or whatever you're going to actually need to survive. Because a 5-up overwatch with the amount of guns they have, I mean, they could probably kill a 5-man Sanguinary Guard squad on that 5-man overwatch pretty easily.
Or if you're going to take on and kill one of them a turn, or focus one of them down before moving on to the next and so forth, then that's prime target for your whirlwind if you're taking one.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing is, like, in the game I played, none of them exploded. If those things explode and you've got 2 or 3 units in to try and kill them in melee, that could actually win the Tau player the game, because D6 mortals across 2 or 3 squads and characters, yeah, that could.
Well, let's work it out, because let's assume then that you're charging from out of line of sight, so he's using his indirect fire. So what indirect fire has he got? He's got a 2 smart missile systems. So smart missile system, that's going to be, is that 4
heavy
shots?
8. Yeah, heavy 8 if you put the 2 together.
Yeah. So heavy 8, strength 5 from that, so it's 8 shots. Let's assume we've swapped out the flamer for the twin air bursting fragmentation launcher. So that's going to give us another 2d6 shots. So that's what? Average of 7. So what's that? 15 shots, strength 5. He's hitting on 4s because he's not going to have a marker like that on you. So what's that? So he's going to get 7 hits at strength 5. He's going to be wounding on, say, probably 3s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get 5 hits through, -1 AP.
-2 if he's in that monk.
-2 if you're in something fancy. So he's going to kill 3 or 4 Marines.
Yeah. It's enough to make.
Oh, hang on, no, they're only damage 1, aren't they? So he's going to kill 2 Marines.
Also, though, something you said there doesn't always ring true. If you're coming in from reserves, because you reserve stuff to try and avoid their firepower, your ability to charge from behind, obscuring, isn't always going to be there.
Oh no, not at all. I wasn't thinking from reserves. I'm more thinking hide. Don't charge it from that in the open, or you're going to get a face full of pulse blast cannon.
So, is the best way to deal with one of these essentially focus everything you can at one of these at a time and accept you're going to take losses in doing so?
I don't know. I will say one thing against that strategy. Things like the ability to negate that one incoming shot. You can spike the defensive abilities a little bit. You can start. So I wonder if you're better off trying to bait those sorts of things out.
The other thing to say, though, here, Mark, that's kind of important, is they get a 1 CP, Tau get a 1 CP strat. I don't remember what it's called, but it will let them operate at full profile.
Yeah.
So even if you take, I guess, put it down on 4 wounds or something, 1 CP, he's on full profile for the next turn. It's Titanic, so it can shoot in combat, and I'm pretty sure Titanic can fall back and charge. And the thing that surprised me was its weapon skill is 5, sure, but it is -2 damage from the feet. So the feet, in my case, actually killed some Marines as well.
Yeah, but hang on. Look, three attacks, so it should only hit once. So the best it should be able to do is 1.
Well, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, you say 3 attacks. It's easy enough to roll 3 5+s, though, in a game. It's spiky.
Okay.
It's not bad in melee. It's surprisingly good in melee. I mean, hitting on 5s is...
I'm not sure I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
3 attacks at weapon skill 5 is not...
All right, okay. Let's just agree that it's not as bad in melee as a Land Raider.
No,
yeah, we can agree on that.
Move on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on then. These are pretty good. I don't think we're going to take 3.
Dealing with it is going to be a pain.
Dealing with it's going to be a pain. Looking at the numbers, I would suggest trying to stay out of line of sight, suck up the indirect fire, because remember, you can hide out of obscuring and he can't. So you can start sticking your dreadnoughts or whatever behind obscuring. He can't shoot them and you can pepper away at him. So that is something to bear in mind. They've got more sources of indirect that are bigger, as we'll get to.
Okay.
Okay, so number 4, the Ethereal. Now, Ethereals used to be a bit shit, really. but these days are pretty good. As a model, no, they're not. It's a toughness 3 wounds, 5 up save, whatever. Where they get good is their invocations. Now, think of the invocations as basically chaplain litanies. They go off on a 3+ and they do a thing. Now, I said combos because this is where I would... If I'm running an ethereal, this is what I'm running. I'm going to run an ethereal with a humble stave, which means that I can call 2 litanies or invocations a turn instead of 1. And I can do them on a 2 instead of a 3. And then the litanies that I'm going to give him is going to be Wisdom of the Guides, because on a 2-up, I gain a command point.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
It's worth the 1 command point to give him the humble save to give it to him. And the other one I'm going to give is Sense of Stone to give units within 6 inches a 5-up, feel no pain. And then I'm going to put him next to something big and scary, like a unit of broadside battle suits.
No, hold on. That's not all units next to him.
No, it's only core.
Okay. And it's one core unit.
Yeah, within 6. But I'm going to sit him next to a big unit of broadside battle suits, and I'm going to give him all a 5-up, feel no pain.
Yeah, fair.
And
that'll apply to all the drones in the unit as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, the +1
60
command
points
point,
in a CP.
it's great. It's so good.
That's pretty great. Ignoring everything else, that's pretty great.
That'd be good to mitigate a first turn hit before the crisis suits move off and start doing their thing, really, though, because you ain't going to be able to keep up with them.
Well, no, you can put him on a hover drone and then he can.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
He can fly around on his flying skateboard.
I was just going to say, otherwise you just hang back and...
I'd leave him with the
buff your
broadsides.
broadsides.
We'll get into crisis suits later on, but I wouldn't have them on the board, to be honest. I'd have the broadsides on the board. I'd put a few shield drones with the broadsides. They've all got a 2-up save. They're all pretty tough, and they've got a 5-up, feel no pain.
And wait 1 second. This is another Tau unit that's surprisingly good in melee. Would you agree?
I would say that he's
3+. He's hitting at strength 5.
3+. This is definitely true.
Yeah, he's about as good as your average Space Marine. That's
No,
fair.
he's not.
He's actually not terrible. He's got a strength +2, -1, 2 damage, staff.
Reduces his attack, so he hits on a 4
But he
with
only
his
hits on
3
4.
attacks at strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. He's not total shit.
Cool. But not total shit.
Okay, he's better than a tactical Space Marine. Excellent.
He's better than a tactical Marine. But
Okay.
at toughness and strength 3, I think actually 60 points worth of tactical Space Marines probably kill him. Don't get him shot. That's not what he's for. But
Yeah,
anyway,
on that note of not getting him shot, a good counter to this would be
shoot him.
some eliminators.
Eliminators would kill him pretty quickly, yeah.
They would. You can give him
5-up
gun
save.
drones and you can use savvy protocols, but maybe go and do savvy protocols once. So if he's savvy protocoling his ethereal, he's not savvy protocoling his storm surge or riptide or whatever else he's using.
Yeah, no invulnerable save on this guy, right?
Let me just check.
Unless you take shield drones, I guess. In which
You
case,
can take shield drones, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's pretty weak. He's only 60 points. But he's all about the buffs, and the buffs.
How many drones can you give an ethereal? 2?
2.
Right. So that'd increase his number of wounds by what? 2 per drone?
If you're using shield drones, yeah.
Okay. So he could be essentially 8 wounds. How many points is shield drone?
12.
Can we very quickly go over the shield drone rule because it changed? Maybe.
Yeah, sure. So drones are now part of the unit. They don't have anything fancy and they don't run around on their own. They are part of the unit. So the same as any other unit, you can pick what you take hits on, including the drones. You can take drones as a squad. You're probably not. I'm not even going to cover them. They're rubbish. Don't bother. Especially shield drone squads because they can't do actions or anything and they can't just be jumping in front of stuff anymore. But each one of the drones has got its own profiles and its own special abilities. So, for example, the shield drone, which is one you're going to see probably most often, although gun drones have their place. Your shield drone is toughness 4. It's got 2 wounds. It's got a 4-up save. It's got a 4-up invuln save because it's a shield drone.
Yes.
which makes it pretty handy because you can be like, okay, I've got the big shot coming in. It's AP -4. I'm taking it on the shield drone.
Yeah.
Or maybe I've got something with 2 up armor save. It's only AP -0. I just might take it on the battlesuit.
So how do defensive stats work these days with relation to drones? Because you have mixed units at this point. You've got
You take it on whatever
toughness.
you decide to take it on.
But they have to roll to wound on the toughness of the highest model in the unit, right? So if you're shooting something that's toughness 5, it doesn't matter that there's drones in that squad. You have to make your wound rolls against T5.
What's the toughness of a drone?
Toughness 4.
4. Okay, so it's tougher than an ethereal.
Tougher than an ethereal, tougher than a Tau, but not quite as tough as a battlesuit.
Fair enough.
So if you were shooting the ethereal and he's got 2 drones, are you
You're
wounding
going to
on
be taking on toughness 4.
You're wounding on the highest toughness, even if the drones is higher than the character.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So it just works the same as mixed squads. For example, if you got like a Death Watch,
Mixed squads are not covered in the core rulebook. They're covered in the codex for Death Watch, which is why I was asking if they're covered in the codex Tau.
Let me just check.
There are no base rulebook rules for mixed squads.
Can't Tau? They can't shift wounds to drones anymore, right? They
can't.
They just choose to take the saves.
If they
on the
use
drones.
the savior protocols, a drone dies.
Okay.
But the hit that caused it. So for example, let's say someone shoots a las cannon at one of your battle suits, and he rolls, he hits, he wounds, you fail your save, and you're like, shit, I'm going to take D6 damage on my battle suit. No, I'm not. I'm the savior protocols. That drone's dead, so it's a damage 0.
Hang on, if you've got a drone in the squad anyway, surely you just allocate the las cannon hit to that drone.
You could,
and it kills that drone. So why the hell would you ever use a stratagem for that?
It doesn't have to be in the squad.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And also, you can say, let's say it came in and it was strength 5, but damage 3. Let's say if you've got one of those custom strength 5, damage 3 weapons. You think, okay, well, I can take that on my battle suit, and I'm only wounding on a 4 up. And if I fail it, I'll just use the strat and kill a drone. And if I pass it, I don't lose anything.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
All right.
So they're very useful for that sort of thing. Okay, so ethereals, I think we're going to see a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not going to see them with Farsight enclaves because they can't take them.
There's essentially 4 free command points for 60 points. I think most people would. I guess they got to pay 1 to get it, but I mean, it's +3, +4 command points every game. Yeah. It's huge.
And then chuck on that, you give you 5 up, you feel no pain on your big. And
I'd pay the 5 points and put them on the drone so he can fly around 10-inch move. That's how I'd run him.
Another weakness he will bring to the Tau army is he is a point of vulnerability for assassination, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Okay, so let's roll on then. In my number 3 slot, talking of broadsides, is the broadsides. These guys have had a big glow up. They're really good. I think we're only going to see the heavy rail rifle now.
This term glow up is being used fucking everywhere.
No, I keep hearing it now.
I didn't hear it at all like 2 months ago, and now it's fucking everywhere.
Yep. Whatever. They're better than they were. They're pretty good. 75 points base. You're going to take the smart missile system probably to give them that actually really quite significant amount of outline of sight. Yeah, 8 shots on this model is a lot. It's not so. So you're running them at 90 points each, not including drones.
8 wounds.
They got 8 wounds. They're only toughness 5, and they don't have an invuln. You can't give them the shield generator. What you can do is put shield drones in the squad
to take the hits.
Take the hits.
Unsafe for them.
But they're still very good. That rail rifle is obscene. Strength 9, AP -4, D3 +3 is good. 2 shots. With a marker light, you're hitting on 3s.
And an auto mortal wound on top.
And an auto mortal wound on top of that. That's really good. 90 points, I think, is extremely good value for this. And I'm quite a fan of putting the stabilized optics on it because they're quite tough. They've got a lot of wounds, so they don't die very quickly. And stabilized optics, they don't cost any points, means that you don't get any penalties to hit with firing heavy weapons in the same turn that their unit has moved. So you can move them and shoot them, even if you're not a Monka.
Yeah, why not?
But also, it means that you can fire them in combat without a minus to hit as well.
Fair enough.
Which is pretty tasty.
Again, what, 2 shield drones per broadside?
Yep.
Which will give you another 4 wounds on top at a 4 up inland save.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
They're pretty tasty.
How do you
Chewing through this is awful.
How do you arm them then? Because any number of battle suits can be equipped with 2 of the following, and you've mentioned stabilized optics. Yes. What is the other one that you take, right?
So the other one that I'll take,
because there's some tasty ones. You can obviously have the same.
There's some great ones in there.
You can have the same early warning thing that we could put on the Storm Surge to Overwatch on 5s.
That's the one that I would probably go with. Now, it might be because I'm a little bit biased because, of course, I normally play melee armies. But if I was running these, I'd probably only run a couple of them. I don't think I'd run huge numbers, but a couple of these on a home objective is going to be really strong because it's going to be really hard to clear off. Make sure it's got good lines of sight. Massive range, they're going to be hitting things. Give them the early warning override means you're hitting Overwatch on 5s and you can CP for nothing. So even if they try and drop something in to try and take out your backfield objective holder, you can Overwatch the shit out of them with that.
Do Tau have one of them strats or abilities that lets them fire on things that have come in within 12 inches of them? Like Spec Scan or something?
Do you know what? I can't remember. I'll have to check the strats. Or John
enough.
can if he's got the list in front of him.
I'm looking desperately through them.
I don't think they have, but don't quote me on that because John's about to say they do. But yeah, so I think these guys are really good. They're really, really good. They do a lot of damage. They're not too many points. They've only got a movement of 5, so they are a bit slow. They don't have jump packs like the other battle suits do. But if you can move and fire, that's going to help. In Monkai, you can advance and fire.
What are their unit keywords? Actually, no, be specific. Are they infantry?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So
infantry and core.
Straight through buildings.
Yep.
Yeah, the core is also pretty good, right?
Because that means that things like those ethereals work on it. That means you can get reroll 1s from commanders.
Yeah.
They're really pretty tasty.
So you need to take some... you really need some marker light drones in general in your Tau army. And the marker lights are just so good, right? Because they just give you +1 to hit. So if you're core, you're now hitting on 3s, you're rerolling 1s. If you have a unit of these guys... The D3 + 3 is super nasty, we know this, but it's not really D3 + 3 now, right? It's D3 + 3 + 1 mortal wound. So even if you're saving against the D3 + 3, you're still taking mortals, because you don't have to fail the save to take the mortals, they just have to make the wound roll, right? So it's kind of like, it's almost like D3 + 4 essentially, or D3 + 1 + 3.
And it's just 9.
It's just nice.
It's just they're just really good. They're really quite they're just really powerful. If you want something to hold, I really think we're going to see a couple of these in most armies holding down a backfield objective.
Yeah, and let's just talk again. Last thing about how good are these in melee?
They're not. Although I will say about that before I go too far, if I'm not remembering this wrong, which I could be because there's
There's strength 6 -1 in melee.
Right. They're equipped with crushing bulk, which just makes me giggle.
Sounds like a character out of Super Ted.
Yeah. It means that they get +1 strength, -1 AP in combat.
Yeah.
So they're hitting a strength 6, AP -1 because they're so bulky, they just, as far as I can tell, sit on you.
So, how do you deal with these? How do you kill them before they kill you?
The same as last time, yeah. Friggin' hide from them and try and charge them from obscuring positions. I mean, try
and charge them from obscuring positions so that they can't just overwatch. But even if they can overwatch you, it's not the end of the world. The rail rifle was pretty scary, but it's probably going to be hitting you on a 5, so they might get a hit in with that. Same with the smart missile system. They're probably going to get a couple of hits on you if they've used that. If they've used what I've said.
Yep.
So you're just going to have to eat the overwatch.
And you're not guaranteed to kill them when you charge them. Because
you're not guaranteed to kill them.
With those shield drones and their 8 wounds.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
But they are only toughness 5. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you start waving thunderhammers and things about.
Yeah. Yeah, 2+ save isn't bad, though.
2+ save is not bad.
So, I mean, Sanguinius Guard with strength 6 axes would be good, but the -2 AP leaves them on a 4-up save.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess there's no -1 damage here, so
No.
that's something that's positive, right?
So I think things like Sanguinary Garden, that would actually do a bit of a number on that.
Yeah, they would. I mean, they're still a very good unit.
They're
Used
brilliant.
right,
These are
if
great
these guys can be screened, and I mean, you can run them in squads of 2 or 3. I think you could do a lot of damage with
You
these.
can run them in squads of 1, which is you've got the heavy support slots, yeah.
So if you want the most versatility to deal with them and a charge from a skewing terrain point of view, Wrath of Baal starts coming into its own on this for the extra 2-inch movement from a jump pack.
Yeah, potentially.
Gives you that a little bit more flexibility.
Even coming in from strategic reserves, and then taking your time, moving into a covering position and charging the next turn. Don't try and drop down and charge, because if you fail it, you're going to get shot to shit and lose your expensive unit.
And just even though you're saying that they're not good in melee, they do have a stratagem where they can essentially explode for 1 CP.
Yeah, that's something that I haven't mentioned yet, but that is fantastic. From just an amusing phase. So that all the old battlesuits used to have a lot of the old battlesuits like Riptides that had explodes, and they've lost that. Instead, now it's a strat, and you just pop the strat, and it blows up when you kill it.
Roll a d6 for each unit within 3 inches of this model, adding 1 to the roll if the destroyed model has wound characteristics of 12 or more. On a 3 to 5, it's d3 mortal wounds. On a 6+, it's the flat 3 mortal wound. So,
okay, it's not game changing, but I love the just spitefulness of it.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It just makes me giggle. So let's roll on. At number 2, the Crisis Battlesuits. Now, I ummed and ahed a little bit with this. I've not put all the stats on there. These guys are brilliant. They've got a 10-inch move.
I thought you said they moved 8.
No, John said they moved 8.
Okay.
They've got a 10-inch move, so they're pretty quick. They've got a strat for jump, shoot, jump, which is awesome. They've got 4 wounds each. You can put a load of shield drones in the squad. You can take an Iridium suit for 5 points, giving one of them a 2-up armor save. You can take shield generators on all of them for 5 points, and you can stack some guns on them. Now, the guns, you can go indirect fire and start bringing the airburst launchers, and a lot of people really like that kind of building up huge amounts of indirect fire. I'm quite fond of the plasma rifle. I think they've done a good job with that. Flat 3 damage, strength 8. But my very favourite weapon for these guys is the Tau Flamer. Yeah. And the reason for that is it costs 5 points, so it costs very little points. You've got loads of hard points. Well, these guys get 4 guns, potentially. So it costs 5 points. You put a flamer on every guy on there, right? And then when somebody charges you, if you've got a unit of, say, 5 of them, you're doing 5d6 plus 10 hits to them. Which is just bonkers.
It's kind of bonkers.
It's crazy numbers.
I think the plasmas are so good on these guys as well.
Like you said, if you're going to run them at range and be just jumping around in and out of cover and that at a distance, the plasma is a really good choice. Fusion blasters are fusion blasters. Yeah, they're just melter guns, basically. The cyclic ion cannon is an anti-marine, excellent gun. I like the fact that the guns become more expensive the more of the same one you stack on there. It means you've got a nice little bit of choice. So I like sticking a flamer on every guy because it's quite cheap and it's a bit of a charge deterrent. And then you can sort of alternate, maybe stick a plasma rifle on each guy. The burst cannons are pretty good now. Give them a lot of anti-infantry fire. You could start stacking up the air bursting fragmentation so you can always shoot with them. They're really, really versatile, which is fantastic. That's exactly what they're supposed to be. Then you couple that with some of the nastiness that's going on. You've got strats for jump, shoot, jump. That's pretty powerful. If you're playing Farsight Enclaves, you'll be getting basically a free marker light if you're close in. Well, these guys are going to be quite close in, which makes them really, really powerful. You've also got some horrific things. You can play things like Shocking Firestorm, which means that you can do double damage for morale purposes. We don't normally worry about morale shenanigans, but this stacks up quite quickly. What else have we got from this? The Farsight Enclave's unique stratagem is pretty good on these guys. Let me just bring that up. Drop zone clear. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when a Farsight Enclave battle suit from your army is set up on the battlefield using Manta Strike. Just their deep strike.
Yeah.
Until the end of the turn, each time a battle suit model in that unit makes a ranged attack, re-roll the hit roll and re-roll wound rolls.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
That is one of the major reasons, I think, to bring Farsight Enclaves, to be honest.
Yeah. I was going to say...
That's an incredible stratagem.
Crisis...
I've made a massive mistake wearing this jumper. It's made of fleece and I'm fucking hot now.
Crisis suits with like a mix of plasma rifles and the airburst fragmentation projectors, to me, seem really, really strong, because those damage 3 plasmas kill like the heaviest armored Marines. You know, like they're killing Terminators with a single shot, they're killing Blade Guard veterans with a single shot. They're -4, so they're pretty much pushing things straight onto their invulnerable save. The plasma rifles
have only got one shot, which is a bit of a...
Really nice. Yeah, but they're 30 inches. It's a good range. It's a good range. Strength 8 -4, 3 damage at 30 inches.
So how much is a plasma rifle, and how much is a second, and how much is a third, and how much is a fourth?
5, 10, 15 on the plasma rifles, and it's 3 guns per model. I think 20 said 4, but I think I meant 3.
Yeah, sorry, I did mean 3.
Okay.
So you used to be able to take 4 guns or suits, and now you can take 3 guns, and you have to take a...
I think a mix between like a plasma rifle and a couple of indirect fire or something. I think the indirect fire, the amount of indirect fire they can take is going to help a lot, right? Because the way you counter Tau is that you hide your models in obscuring positions and terrain.
Yeah.
So if they have a good mix between that indirect fire that can't get any cover save bonuses on a bunch of the stuff, some of them, I guess against these guys, unless you take the actual target lock, then you wouldn't be able to get you'd still get your cover save. So I guess if you're in cover, they're -1, so you're basically on your same save, right?
So if the way you counter Tau is by hiding from them, they can take a shit ton of indirect.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that if they can counter your counter?
There's a lot of indirect, and you can build around that. The thing is, a lot of people really, really like this. I just don't like the airbursting fragmentation launcher that much. It's Assault D6, and I don't like the fact it's got such a random number of shots at strength 4, 18 -1. Mm-hmm. It is blast. But who's running giant? If you're running giant units, then yeah, it's going to be great. But if you're running 5-man Space Marine units,
I mean, if you're running enough of them, though, you'll get averages.
It starts to become less chip damage and more real damage. But
if you put an airburst thing on each of your 5 crisis suits in a unit,
5d6.
Yeah, that's enough d6 where you're going to get averages.
That's 20 bolter shots.
Is it? How many shots per airburst thing?
D6. So average
2d6.
No, just d6. They could run 3 of them on one.
They could run 3 of them, but that's getting mega expensive.
Right. Okay.
I think they're more likely to run like a couple of fragmentate. Like let's say you run 2 airbursters in the plasma. You've got that really nice plasma for when you can see the enemy and it's going to kill things because it's strength 8 -4, 3 damage. And then if you've got a 5-man squad, you're rolling 10d6. So your averages there are like 30, 40 shots. And yeah, they are only bolters, but they don't need line of sight. If you're within 18 inches, because of the Monca thing, then it's an additional -1.
It
and
is.
they're re-rolling their wounds as well. And they can re-roll their hits because they're core, and they get +1 from the marker lights. They're in a good place.
You can stack it up and you can make crisis suits. I think crisis suits are probably your best unit in the army.
Yes, one of them.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sold on the mass fragmentation projectors. I don't like that random number of shots. I have seen, and yet before someone tells me, yes, I know, I've watched the Art of War stuff. I know they are absolutely creaming themselves over it. I'm just not sold on that.
One on each crisis, I can...
One on each crisis, but running 2, that's 15 points. That's 20 points. That's 50 points. 55 points for your basic guy. And you're still only getting 2d6 bolter shots from each guy.
Well, we're coming to a list that has, I think, 15 crisis suits in it to look at. So we've got that coming up. They are toughness 5. They are 4 wounds.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
And again, those wounds can be doubled if you take 2 shield drones per squad.
But I'll take 2 shield drones per squad. I wouldn't take 2 shield. That gets really expensive really quick. You're paying another 24 points for shield drones for each guy if you start taking 2 each.
But imagine that doubles their amount of wounds you got to chew through to kill these guys. The first, if you take 5 crisis suits and 10 shield drones, that's 20 wounds that do fuck all to reduce the amount of firepower coming out at you. And each of those is on a 4-up invuln save.
Yeah.
That's a horrible prospect.
It's a horrible unit.
How do you deal with that?
We're already seeing these kind of crisis bombs being the way to play Tau at the moment. Before they come out, everyone was talking about, it's going to be all about the hammerheads and things like that. And it's not. It's all about the crisis suits.
You can move
crisis
10,
suits are the thing
you,
to bring.
jump back another 10, at which point your ability to try and move and charge them from out of obscuring becomes really difficult because they're just that far back from you as well.
Can we make a pin in these guys for just a minute? Just while I talk about my number 1 unit. And it will make more sense. Hold on.
I just want to clarify one thing that Mark said. When you use the jump, shoot, jump, it's called strike and feed. You only get to move 6 inches after you've shot, but it's still good. You just can't move the full 10. I think that's why I was confused earlier.
Yeah.
Still
let me just go to my number 1 unit, and then you can really, really show the salt.
Perfect.
All right.
Number 1 is
our number 1 is the Battlesuit Commanders. Now, I've put all 3 of them on here because each one of these guys buffs those crisis suits in a different way, and all of those ways are great. I think my favourite is your standard crisis battlesuit, because your standard crisis battlesuit, as well as being a pretty chunky guy himself, he allows 1 unit of battlesuits to charge and shoot if they fall back.
Perfect.
He also means each time a core model in that unit ignores all hit roll modifiers.
It's not that.
So you can put that on that squad of 5 crisis suits.
Sure.
Because why not? Or alternatively, maybe you're feeling spicy and you feel like going with a Cold Star. Now your Cold Stars, he's dropped a bit of movement. He's not quite as quick as he was, but he's still got movement 14. He's got the ability to, once per battle, jump off the board and come back down somewhere else, which is pretty tasty.
He does that in the same turn, or?
Yep.
Okay.
In the same phase. So he goes up in your movement phase, and then he comes back down somewhere else.
And just to make this extra salty, they took that away, obviously, from Blood Angels and Space Marines with guerrilla tactics and everything. Eldar can do that as well.
Yeah.
Just to make it even worse.
Yeah. But their ability to buff your crisis suits, how does the idea of giving your crisis suits flat advance rolls of 8 inches,
nice,
which when you combine that with your Montcar means that they can move 18 inches and fire all of their guns with no penalty.
Because they count as having not moved.
And then let's throw on the jump, shoot, jump mechanic as well. Yeah, meaning that your crisis suits have got a total move of 24 inches a turn, and they're still firing at full effect.
Fuck.
But it gets more. Let's look at our Enforcer. Now, I think, to be honest, this is probably the one I'm least likely to take, but he's still great in his own right. Now, in his own right, he's a bit tougher than the other guys with the 2-up save. He's got 7 wounds. He's at toughness 5. He's got -1 damage on him.
Okay.
You can give him an upgrade, which means that the first wounding roll does 0 damage.
Is that a stratagem again, or is that flat?
Just flat. A bit like Trajan Valorous, but it's not once per game. It's once per turn.
All right, so it's like Infiltrators.
Yeah, okay. The first wounding thing per turn, he ignores.
Yeah, it's like the Infiltrators can do.
And he's got -1 damage.
Not like
and he puts OBSEC on your crisis suits.
He puts OBSEC on 1 crisis core unit that is within 9 inches of that Enforcer during the command phase.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more restrictive.
It's a little bit, but it means that they can drop down, have OBSEC, kill everything around them,
He's got to jump back as well, has he? He's
Of
a
course,
fly.
yes.
Yeah.
He's slightly slower than the other two. He's only got movement 8.
So what else, though, do all these commanders have in common? They have the Master of War aura ability, right?
Yep, so the reroll 1s.
For
For
core
hitting.
units.
Is that all core units within 6?
Correct, yes.
Yep.
It's an aura. And obviously, if you want to start any of these guys off the battlefield, you can do that because they have Master Strike.
And they've got a few nice little warlord traits and relic stuff. I'm going to talk about a couple of those in a minute, so I'm not going to go into those right now. But I just wanted to... We were talking about the crisis suits and how do you counter it. And now think of those crisis suits and how do you counter them when they're buffed by one of these guys. Or more of these guys. Because although you can only take 1 per detachment, you can take multiple detachments. I've seen a few people looking at running 3 patrols and taking all 3 of these guys.
Possible
If you're running Farsight Enclaves, you can take 2 natively, but you do lose the ability to take ethereals. Yeah, you can make some obscene crisis blobs. But really obscene. Now, if you're like me and you're not the biggest fan of your air bursting, fuck it, who cares? We're just going to load it up with direct damage things and just blow everything up.
Can I just point out one weapon while we're at it? So
Yep.
there is a relic fragmentation launcher. You know this one?
Yes,
right?
there is. Yeah, he's in the PowerPoint later on.
Okay, so we'll come to him because I want to talk about how strong he is. I was going to say broken.
Go on, talk about how strong he is, because we're on the crisis suits.
So you can replace your fragmentation launcher with the Dominator fragmentation launcher, which is it's the same assault d6. It gets 1 additional strength and 1 additional AP, so it's strength 5 minus 2. However, this weapon, obviously, it can target indirect. Each time the bearer shoots this weapon, if any hits are scored, until the end of the turn, subtract 4 from the leadership of the model in the target unit.
Yeah.
4.
4.
Yeah,
yes.
4.
So
now, it's a prototype. It costs an extra 25 points plus your fragmentation. So it costs you 30 points to put it on there. I like putting that on a cold star and then running it around in the back of their deployment zone, bombing all their stuff.
the -4 is insane.
Bonkers.
I've said for a while,
That's
like
the point where
leadership's
leadership
not
modifiers actually make a
yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leadership isn't
Remember
that
there's
important in
that
this
strat
edition,
as well.
and then it's like you score a single hit with this indirect fire. So what you can do, I guess, is you can shoot all his weapons, right? Because this has got 24 inches. You basically shoot most of his weapons, see which squad he's really whittled down, and then go, right, I just need to make a single hit on that squad with his assault d6 weapon, and then that squad's on -4. So if that squad's already lost 2, 3, 4 guys, then it's almost like instant morale fail.
It's a bit unreliable because it's morale based, but what you can do if you're feeling very spicy is combine that with 1 CP for Shocking Firestorm, meaning that each casualty counts as double. And then you can start making custos run away.
Yeah, I guess.
Because that means if you kill 1 guy,
it's -6.
it's -6.
So, yeah. Oath of Moment against Tau?
Yeah, don't do that.
Question mark?
I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, so
Why not?
that's in my slides for later on. So let's move on, shall we?
Let's move on. So, okay, so that was my top 5 units. But before I do that, a bit like last time, I've got some honourable mentions that otherwise people are going to get upset that I haven't mentioned. So we have things like the Kroot. And now Kroot and Kroot Hounds, it's going backwards and forwards on this. Some people really like those Kroot Carnivores. Again, yes, I've seen the Art of War stuff. Yes, they really love their Kroot. But at the end of the day, it's a 60-point unit. They're going to die. They're quite quick because they get that pre-game move. In cover, they've got a 4-up save. They're only toughness 3, and 4-up saves what everybody else gets for free anyway. I'm not totally sold on them. What I am totally sold on, though, is Kroot Hounds. 24 points a unit. You've still got your pre-game move. You've now got a 12-inch move on top of that, your pre-game thing. And you've got little units of 4 Kroot Hounds that can just be an absolute nuisance. They can be getting in table quarters. They can be making nuisance charges.
And they do actions.
No, because they're beasts, but
Good.
otherwise they'd just be totally broken. It's the fact you can run 24-point units. That's fantastic. If I was running, genuinely trying to be really competitive, I'd have I'll probably have 3 squads of Kroot Hounds for 78 points or whatever it is. 3 squads of Kroot Hounds. That's something that is it. 24 points a squad. So
72.
Yeah, you've got 72 points. You've got 3 squads of these running around being an absolute pain in the arse. And you don't care really if they die. If they stop someone charging, or on turn 1, you stick them on all the objectives so your opponents can't take them turn 1, then they've already made their points back. I'm really, really like the Kroot Hounds. People would be upset if we didn't mention the Hammerhead Gunship. I don't think they're that good. They've got an amazing gun on them, but they're only hitting 3/4 of the time.
Unless you take the set that lets you reroll 1 hit and 1 wound.
If you take the set that gets you reroll, but you can't. It doesn't really work because they've already got an innate reroll hit, and that's what brings them down to hitting 3/4 of the time.
So they hit on a 4.
So they hit on a 4 with a reroll, so you're getting a 75% chance of hitting.
So you shoot something you mark like first, which means you hit on a 3 with a reroll, which is
pretty reliable. Which is not bad. And then you've got to roll, but it's also on a chassis that is very, very vulnerable to getting shot. With the exception before someone else does. But if someone plays this against me, I'm going to find a new opponent of bringing Long Strike in his Hammerhead because he hits on a 2 and gives some other buffs, and a squad of Crisis Bodyguards, which is why they're on there as well. And you put the Crisis Bodyguards behind a wall so they can't be shot, and then you put them near Long Strike, and you've got a Hammerhead Gunship that hits on 2s and can't be shot back.
Yeah, which is really strange because they kind of nerf again. It feels like the consistency between the codex is wrong because last edition Iron Hands had that dreadnought that you could make a character, you could have 2 double las cannons, you could stand next to a squad and couldn't be targeted, and everyone that was playing Iron Hands had this unkillable or untargetable dreadnought that was like, Iron Hands.
And that was with las cannons and not a fucking railgun.
Well, exactly. So this seems the Long Strike. Yeah. The Long Strike has to get FAQ'd. Yeah. Like, it just has to get FAQ'd.
Guard specifically says that their bodyguard rule does not work on vehicles. And this feels like it shouldn't as well. And it certainly shouldn't if you can't even see the Crisis Bodyguards to shoot them. This just feels like exploiting the rules. To be honest, it feels like cheating.
Yeah, I mean, do bodyguard rules in general maybe need like a little tweak where it's like if all the bodyguards are hiding behind cover.
If you can't shoot the bodyguards, then they shouldn't be able to work.
Yeah, I think that's how the rule needs to go because I've had situations where like you could see the characters, but you can't see the bodyguards.
I mean, this is a fuck off great big tank.
Yeah. And also
because you've got a single man hiding behind a wall behind it, you can't shoot the fuck off great big tank.
Yeah, and there's other... I know we're not talking about them right now, but Sisters of Battle with Celestine with her 2 minions, you can essentially daisy chain Celestine because it's a squad of characters. So you have one character next to the... next to the sacrosancts behind a building, then you have 2 inches, then you have this other character, then you have 2 inches, then you have Celestine, and it's like this daisy chain of untargetable characters. I don't know. I think bodyguards maybe need
at least for things like that. And you can do the same with Morgan Fail and all that shit. But at least they're not really doing a lot of damage while they're doing that. If they want to do the real damage, they've got to come in and do the damage. Yeah. This guy can just sit there blowing away a unit every turn, and there is absolutely fuck all you can do about it. And that to me feels broke. Well, like I say, it feels like cheating. So I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I'm only mentioning it now because someone will in the chat. Oh, have you tried this combo? No, because I don't think. I think that's not okay. Anyway,
you've got to be prepared for it and prepared to face it in a tournament. Because
you've got to be prepared because that's the way. That's the way that, and that's a discussion for another day. Mark and I were talking about this the other day, and the way that sort of that competitive meta seems to be a lot around that sort of thing at the moment.
As much as I want to win a tournament, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. I want to win, but not. That's no. Anyway, so things that I do think are really good, and I'm in an iron about putting them in there. It's a stealth battle suits. Now, stealth suits are great. They've got 2 wounds. They're only toughness 4, but they do move quick. They've also got the ability to bring a homing beacon for 5 points. That means you can bring your crisis bomb of doom down on turn 1, and it doesn't have to be outside 9 inches of the enemy.
I don't really think...
As a Blood Angels player, How much would you like to bring your Sanguinary Guard down turn 1, 3 inches from the enemy?
Yeah, we don't get nice things, Tony. Just move on.
But more importantly, because it's that 9 inches, what that means is you can bring him in at 8 inches and you can get your fusion blasters within half range.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful.
What's this thing called that allows the turn 1 drop?
It's the homing beacon on your stealth battlesuits. So it's a stealth battlesuit piece of war gear. They're really great. They're not very expensive. They cost, I think it's 25
homing
points.
Beacon. In your command phase, any number of units in your army that are equipped with homing beacons can start to perform the action. The action is complete at the start of the reinforcement step of your next movement phase. Oh, no, you can't bring them in turn 1. They'll bring in when it's completed the unit.
In your command phase. So you do it in your command phase.
Oh,
it happens
sorry,
at the end of your movement phase.
When it's completed, the unit performing the action loses its homing beacon, and one friendly Crisis Core unit that was set up in Mantra Hold, which essentially is Deep Strike, can set up in the battlefield within 3 inches of the unit, and more than 9 inches away from enemy.
So I misread that. That's fine.
Does it explicitly say overrides the you can't arrive from Deep Strike during turn 1 rule? If it does not explicitly say that, you can't. Because that's what drop pods say.
Well, that's a good point, actually. What's the wording on it?
The drop pod explicitly says it can override that limitation and come down on turn 1.
Let's double check that, because that's how it's being played.
And I'm trying to look it up on Wikipedia, and it's not letting me. It's
Drop pod
Drop
pod specifically says it can arrive in your first, second, or third movement phase.
But this is an action that brings them down. It's not
Doesn't matter.
Normally bringing them down in your thing.
Doesn't matter.
Because otherwise it has absolutely no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, you're right. Otherwise,
because you could just drop it down anywhere with outside of 9 anyway.
Oh,
so?
Even if it's the first battle round, it does say that. Yeah, you can. Yeah. First battle round.
Fair enough.
So you've got a pretty nice alpha strike there, I guess. The
That's
only
really
issue is
nasty.
Infiltrators will be helpful.
Infiltrators are going to be really important against these guys. Because even things like your Groot first turn early move, they're not going to be able to
Infiltrators will not prevent that.
No, but you're already on the objective. Because you can put yours down anywhere. He can just move his.
Yeah, so these guys essentially have like concealed positions. So they're starting anywhere on the board and they can just bring a unit down wherever they want. Okay.
Which I think is really powerful.
And infiltrators explicitly override any ability to place anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So your infiltrators are going to be really powerful because those infiltrators are also going to screen out things like that turn 1 move Groot trying to get on all the objective.
Yeah.
Because although they can do that, you're already on the objective.
Cool.
Because you'll put that down before they get their move.
If Groot do their pre-game move, I assume there's a limitation of you can't get within 9 inches of the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that usual limitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and those little stealth battle suits are 25 points a model. So you can run little units of them. I'd be tempted even to run 2 or 3 units if you were going to go down this route. You plonk them straight down on the objectives, and then you can bring your crisis
fast attack
down. No, they're elites.
Elite, okay.
So that is a limitation. I swear they used to be fast attack many years ago. But what it means is the more of those you bring, the less crisis suits you can bring.
Yeah.
But still, I think they're pretty good.
The
last thing that I've highlighted on here is at the beginning I said that there are 2 units of notable exceptions for good in melee. Farsight's pretty good. The other one is, we've seen a few people building him, the Smash Crisis suit.
Yeah, tell us about him because I don't know anything about him.
The Smash Crisis suit it's a bit of a meme, but it's a funny one and it's pretty good. So your Crisis battle suits, weapon skill free, it's got 4 attacks. It's not amazing, but what you do is you give him the relic, the Onager Gauntlet. Now the Onager Gauntlet is a melee weapon, which gives you strength 12, AP -4, damage 3. And that's pretty tasty with your battle suits. Then, on top of that, you give them Precision of the Hunter Warlord trait, which means that you can reroll all hits and wounds. On top of that, You give him the prototype systems as an upgrade for a flame of this, the thermoneutronic projector. Now, you lose your auto hitting, but that's all right because you've got re-rolls for hitting and you're hitting on a 2 anyway. And that is a flamer assault D6 plus 2, the same as the other Tau flamers. But strength 4, AP minus 2, damage 2. Gets better though, because in combat it's got a melee profile, meaning in addition to your 4 smacks with your Onager Gauntlet, you also get re-rolling hits and wounds, remember, D6 plus 2 attacks with your flamer in combat as well. So you can fire it in the shooting phase because you're a battle suit. You can fire it in the melee phase because it's a special flamer. And you can punch him out with an Onager Gauntlet that rerolls all hits and wounds.
Okay. Just right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Just smacks. There you go. So you can get your sanguinary guard smacked down by a towel.
Lovely. Lovely. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, sounds like a good option.
Why not? Because you're only using up one of your weapon slots there as well. So if you fancy it, you can just stick a couple of fragmentation launchers if you're feeling like you want a bit of no line of sight firing. Maybe a plasma rifle.
Could you put more flamers on him?
Yes.
Okay.
But you couldn't fire all those in melee as well. Small mercies.
Right. So getting constructive.
Yeah.
If you
let me flip the last slide because this makes sense, and then we can get constructive. Because this is our list of stuff, and now we can talk over that.
All right.
Yeah. Because you're thinking about how we're going to beat this.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And if I'm honest, so am I. Like I said at the beginning, I was thinking with the Custodes, I could find some real weaknesses. With these guys, the only two I've got is they still only really do the damage in the shooting phase. But also their units don't have particularly... Some of the stuff's really tough. The suits are pretty tough. But their breacher teams, their strike teams, their crew, these sorts of things are actually fairly fragile. They're all about the trading up kind of thing. They come down, they do the damage, they die. So they are relatively squishy, but they've got phenomenal shooting. They're really mobile. You can build them how you want to build them. Incredible alpha strike. The Septenants. We haven't even talked about the Septenants. Borkhan. This is the two that I think are probably the most powerful is Farsight Enclaves, but also Borkhan. Borkhan, you get that lovely strat for a couple of CP, meaning you can ignore invul saves. But also, in a list that's got a lot of battle suits, I think it's pretty strong because of the other aspect of it. Add 4 to the range, which includes your flamers and burst cannons, and includes all your rapid fire range. But also, any strength characteristic of 7 or less against a vehicle or battle suit subtracts 1, which is really important because things like heavy bolters and that, which are actually pretty good against battle suits, suddenly are wounding on 5s.
Yeah.
And that's a flat across the army. Reduce 1 from the strength of all these.
If they're below strength 8, right?
If they're below strength 8, 7 or less, that's really, really powerful. Farsight Enclaves, it's not quite the same, but you're functionally getting the same as a Marker Light if you're within 12. It's a bit annoying because you've got to measure each individual guy if he gets his Marker Light, but that's still really powerful. And you get a reroll wound, which works really nicely with things. Talsept is a reroll hit and a reroll wound, but the real reason you take Talsept is they've got the most characters. If you want to take some of the special characters, that's why you bring Talsept.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's a lot to get into. I think what we said at the very beginning, if people want us to go deeper into Tau, we can probably go deeper. But we are...
There's a lot to unpack there. It's a very dense codex.
Yeah, there is a lot. Okay, so anything else to say about this slide?
How do we kill them, Mark?
Don't know. If you want to factor in having to deal with Tau in a tournament, what do you want to make sure your list can do in order to be able to deal with Tau? So, thinking about this, infiltrators are going to be useful for screening stuff out in the early turns and reducing any deep strike stuff they may or may not want to do.
We said a similar thing with those and Custodes as well. They can be really powerful. So I think infiltrators are really going up in the... So if you're running Space Marines, I think infiltrators are going up again.
You might want your infiltrators to stick around a little bit longer, so having the healing gauntlet might be useful for them for an extra 10 points. Might not. You might want to think about that.
I don't know. I think that's too many points, but yeah.
It's a choice.
I think screening's got to be really important with these guys. You need to be able to screen out.
No, I don't think it is, because your crisis suits are so mobile.
They just jump over the screen.
I don't give a shit what screening you've got in place, because that will keep out your deep strike stuff. But if I could just jump over it in the movement phase and shoot what I want to shoot at range, from out of line of sight, and then jump away again, I'm not sure screens make much difference, to be honest, unless you've literally flooded the board that there's nowhere to put a footprint of a crisis suit. But if you're doing that, then they can shoot whatever they want to shoot anyway, because they've got plenty of stuff on the board to shoot at that isn't hiding behind line of sight. You want to blunt the Alpha Strike. How do you blunt the Alpha Strike?
I mean, they can stack up the ignored line of sight weapons, but they are still fairly low. So they're all strength 5, more or less, with the exception of the one sort of relic version.
There's enough re-rolls to make them potent, even with low strength. There's a lot of high rate of fire in there. It'll all just add up.
It does add up. It's an obnoxious amount of fire they have. I mean, I'm primarily a Blood Angels player. I was happy that Blood Angels work with half your army starting off the board, right? You know, literally I could put 900 points of models in Deep Strike and I can be quite fine with that. I mean, Blood Angels spike in turn 3, which is kind of the opposite. If they're going that Montca, then they're losing their power essentially from turns 4 and 5. Yeah. So as a Blood Angels player, I think you want to start a bunch of stuff in Deep Strike, and an 8-inch charge with a reroll is a 65%
Did you find a strat for shooting things that come in from reserve?
No, I didn't find one.
I couldn't see one either.
So reserving stuff is going to be a very useful tool for dealing with Tau, potentially, because it means you'll get a chance to do something with your units that you've kept off the board and come on, assuming that the Tau have not got the presence of board and able to just move out and flood the board and take control of things because you've not got enough presence there to stop them from doing so. And if they take enough Crute, squad of 20, whatever, if they take a couple of squads of Fire Warriors, they could potentially quite easily spread out.
They can, yeah, they absolutely can.
And deny where you can deep strike.
By that same token, all of their stuff that's OBSEC and cheap, so your Crute, your Warriors, things like that, they're all fairly fragile. So you, with the exception of using Enforcers to turn Crisis Suits into them, their OBSEC's got to be a bit of a weakness. If you can start killing off all their troops and all those things that can take the objectives and do actions, that's going to help start netting you some points. But what you don't want to do is they put a squad of Crute out onto an objective, you bring out a squad of something good to kill the Crute, and then you just get that nuked off again. And you're trading down, and that's not what you want to do. If you can start farming Crute with bolt guns, then that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I would think that if you're any Space Marine chapter and you're running like what we see from Space Marines, which is Dreadnoughts, I'd say Dreadnought Heavy is quite meta still. I think people, even with the changes to the Volkites, people still run Dreadnoughts. I would put your Dreadnoughts into reserve, or I would at least put something like a Redemptor into reserve, because then if you can make a charge into a unit of broadsides or something with the Redemptor, you are still probably going to wound on 2s because you're like strength 14, right? And each hit from the Redemptor Fist is D3 plus 3. So I think any Space Marine chapter that runs a Redemptor, if you're running like 3 Dreadnoughts, which we often see from Space Marines, I'd be putting one of them into reserve and banking on the fact that the other 2 could open up enough holes by killing the chaff units, like Tony just said, to give that one to give it a charge and give it a fighting chance. Because once you get into melee, you will start running over them. I know that some of the characters that we talked about and some of the units are good still at shooting in melee, but if you get a good couple of squads into melee, you will
be able to kill them off.
Will start running over them.
I said at the beginning, shit in melee, and they are large. If you can get in, you can start chewing through things like those shield drones and that. Then you're going to start doing that. And those battle suits, when you start tooling them up, are really expensive.
With the exception of broadsides, riptides, storm surges, etc., nothing seems to really have an exceptional armor save. So your Volkite Contemptors with their firepower should put in a fair amount of work, I'd expect.
Yeah, they'll be wounding on 3s. Yeah,
I would say even things like your Onslaughts are going to be not bad, because most of their infantry, apart from the suits, is 1 wound. Onslaught strength 6, isn't it?
Onslaughts?
Onslaught
heavy onslaught cannons and stuff.
There's an underslung one on the Redemptor's arm.
Yeah,
that's got
and then
the
there's
fist.
the big heavy
Oh,
one.
them Gatling things, right? Yeah. Sorry.
So I know that if you're running Borkan, yes, okay, the little one's going to be wounding on 5s, but the big one's still going to be wounding on 4s against your suits. Lots of low volume, but high volume shots is going to start making a mess of all those shield drones. They're not going to last long if you just start blasting away at them like that.
The other thing I think that might be worth saying is they're not going to have, if they go like heavy on like crisis suits and stuff like that, they will be able to get on a few objectives, but they're not going to be doing a ton of screening because those units are very expensive, and the drones, especially if they're tooling up with drones, they're quite expensive. Another thing as well that will be good against them is any sort of psychic, because they have literally nothing. I don't think they have the ability to
They
deny.
have one thing. They have one deny if they're running Farsight Enclaves. They've got a relic.
Okay, so
It's really
mortal
bad.
wounds will hurt them big
They
time,
will.
I guess. And apart from that one commander that can give the mortal wound shrug, nothing.
Null
has mortal
zone,
wounds.
that's going to be quite important again.
Yeah.
Getting your null zone off to get rid of some of those invulns.
One thing I'm going to be putting back in my list, having been argued off it by people saying it's gotten too expensive these days, is actually plasma inceptors.
Yeah, plasma inceptors are good against Tau. They're actually good against custodes. We talked about them.
Yeah,
a
we
little
talked
bit
about that
last
last
week.
There's a different reason here, and that reason is blast.
Yeah, blast.
Crisis suits with drones is going to number over 5 models pretty frequently.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah, and 2 damage is going to be good against them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Maximum number of shots from a unit of
one
even
thing.
3 plasma inceptors.
Yeah,
It's going to do a number on a crisis
It's going to
suit.
do 18
unit.
shots probably.
If you're sticking 4 or 5, 6 drones in a squad of crisis suits to give them that survivability, you're making them more vulnerable to blast.
Yes.
And that is something that you need to...
And I would love to take credit for that, but somebody else pointed it out to me and I went, you're fucking right. Yeah.
The only problem I find with the plasma inceptors is if you come up against -1 damage armies, they're cack.
Well, we're talking about Tower here, so I'm not talking about -1 damage armies.
Sure,
it's something
I
to bear
guess
in
it's a
mind for-
balance, right?
Yeah, if you run into these in a tournament, you need something that's going to be able to deal with everything.
Yeah.
But at the moment, these are really, I think, at the top of their game.
All right.
How about long range indirect fire to counter theirs?
I think
the whirlwind's going to be important. Being able to shut down their Overwatch is going to be quite key.
Yes, it is, but it's also going to be easily sniped out with a broadside railgun or two.
Only if it gets line of sight. Remember, you can hide out a line of sight with that as well.
Mm.
And being able to sit there and turn off the Overwatch on that unit with 5 flames in it before you stick your Sanguinary Guard in, I think it's going to be quite worth 130 points of whirlwind costs.
I'd agree with that. Suppression fire is going to be critically useful.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few people say about suppressors because battle suits are infantry.
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know. Yes, maybe they're not going to do a lot of damage.
No,
but maybe
they're going to be. They're going to. If you run suppressors, if you can see them to shoot them,
they can shoot you, and I think they should get shot off the table.
Yeah, and they'll just shoot you off the table. The only thing you could do is maybe put your suppressors at the very back of the board because they've got 48 inches and make them waste some of their bigger guns against them that also have 48 inches.
Even the Fire Warriors member are sort of 36 inch range.
I like the idea of eliminators against them, especially move, shoot, move eliminators for taking pot shots at their Dark Strider or Ethereals or whatever.
Okay.
I think that could do some work on these.
Essentially.
All right, let's move on, I think, shall we?
Yeah. Put some stuff in the comments if you've got some good tactics you've tried, and we'll test them out, and we might revisit this in a later episode, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep rolling then. So, what am I looking at, John?
We're looking at a quick Tau list made by Andrew from the Plastic Crackheads. So, and he's running this to a tournament, I think, next week at Common Ground Games. So it's a fairly big tournament, and he feels confident about it. So let's jump into the actual list. Next slide, please. So it's Tau Sept. So I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one. First person.
Ornva.
Ornva. Ornva.
Okay. And then he's got Commander and Crisis Battlesuit. We talked about them being able to give the core rerolls. He's got Airburster Fragmentations, Plasma Rifles. He's got that Dominator Fragmentation Launcher, which is that -4 leadership one. Target lock, so you don't get saves, cover saves. He's got a couple of marker drones with it to get the ability to give you those marker lights, so you can get +1 to hit. 10-man squad of Grots. Probably just the OBSEC thing. The first detachment, then it's Crisis Battlesuits with Ion Blasters, Plasma Rifles, Shield Generators, Shield Drones. More Crisis Suits, again, Plasma Rifles, Flamers, Shield Generators, Shield Drones, and Marker Drones. And then Broadsides with the Heavy Railguns, the Smart Missiles, Advanced Targeting Systems, and Shield Drones. So basically what we said was, big units of Crisis Suits with drones, markers, and shields. Big units, or units of broadsides with the same. The second detachment is kind of similar. It's a different commander, but again, he's going to have the ability to give those core units rerolls. More Crisis Suits. I imagine the Stingwings are probably for engaging all fronts or actions.
They're great for action, Monkey. 72 points, 6 models, so they can't fail Macmund if you run that one.
And they fly, and
they're really decent.
Yep. And then 2 more sets of broadside battle suits. So in a sense, it's kind of what we talked about. He's got 13 of the smaller battle suits with plasmas, with flamers, with shield drones, with air bursting fragmentation launchers, and then 3 units. Each would be 2 broadside battle suits with the rail rifles, smart missiles, and again shield drones. So kind of what Mark said, trying to make all his units more survivable so they can all take a bunch of wounds before they lose any of their firepower. Andrew's running these in Montcast so that they are, +1 to hit, +1 AP, and if the enemy's within 18 inches, and reroll wound rolls of 1 if they are the closest target, along with the 2 commanders giving all the core rerolls, along with the marker drones, letting you hit on 3s. It's pretty good. And I think there's one other thing that Andrew said, and I think it's on his Cold Star. I think it's this vectored maneuvering thrusters.
Yeah, that's the Talsept special relic.
If you charge him, he can make a 12-inch move or something like that straight away.
I'll read it. Let me read it out. Vector maneuvering thrusters. Add 2 to the movements. It's a move 16 Cold Star, that one. Once per battle round, when the bearer is selected as a target of a charge, if it is not already within engagement range of any enemy unit, it can use this relic. If it does, it can make a normal move. Until the end of the phase, the bearer cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Your opponent can select new targets for the charge. So you charge him, he moves 16 inches away, and
and laughs at you. Yeah,
laughs at you.
So it's an interesting list. I'm not.
If somebody with any graphical ability is watching this, I need a meme of a Tau Battlesuit Cold Star jetting away from someone going, "Ah, fuck you!"
Yeah. So
I rather like that burst cannon that we've got on there as well. That's the prototype one. So it's an Assault 8, Strength 6, AP -1, Damage 1 burst cannon. But what's fun about it is weapons that ignore wounds, so things like feel no pains and that, cannot be taken. Now, there's a bit of a debate about this, and Mark, you're the resident rules lawyer, but let me read the exact wording. Each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a model, that model cannot use any rules to ignore the wounds it loses. Now, the debate is whether that affects things like Gazkul and Satan, because they ignore any wounds after the 4 they've taken in that phase.
I think it would.
I think it would. I think this is a weapon that means you can do more than the 4 wounds.
Carry on. I'll give me a moment. I'll come back.
So I think if you are building a Tau list at the moment, battle suits, broadsides, getting some synergies there, and also getting your shield drones and all that to help you stay alive, I guess. I mean, it seems like a solid list. I don't know how it will do. I'm playing this on Monday night. I'm just going to run my standard Blood Angels list against it and see what happens. But although we beat Tau last time, I am pretty worried.
I'm not sold on the doubling up of the weapons. on those crisis suits. The two air burst, 2 plasma.
Rare rule 21, ignoring wounds versus rules that prevent models from ignoring wounds. Rules that say models cannot use rules to ignore the wounds they lose always take precedence over rules that say that a model cannot lose more than a specified number of wounds in a time.
So that means that it would work. Means that you can use it.
It would override the limitations of a Catan or Gauskol or a Phoenix Lord or any of the other stuff.
Which is pretty powerful because Tau really can't do damage in more than the shooting phase. So that's not bad because it's quite cheap as well.
What did you say? It was strength 6 minus 1 damage.
Yeah, but
so
if
it's not going to do a ton of damage.
No.
Yeah.
But it means that you can do 4 wounds to him with your other guns, then stick that into him as well and see if you can knock a couple more off.
Tell the people who are debating it to read the fucking rules.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not sold on this doubling up the weapons. I think it's spending a lot of points on weapons that you could spend elsewhere.
Well, of course. But I guess
I'm a cheap bastard anyway. You know what I'm like for war.
Yeah, you're actually the worst for putting upgrades on. If you could run a dreadnought like with just like 2 stormbolters and nothing else, you would run it because you'd be like,
yeah,
let's cheap dreadnought.
But at the same time, my reasoning is with that sort of thing is I'd rather save those points because let's say plasma rifles for the second one, it's what 15
more bodies, less toys. Yeah, I get the principle.
You know, I'd rather do. I reckon that an extra battle suit would do more damage than having another plasma rifle on the others.
I mean, maybe.
And that's the way I tend to build lists. But like, other people do what you do. You.
Yeah, you do.
If it's got plenty of killing potential.
Yeah, you could drop those down and you could chuck in a few more squads of annoyance, get some more crew in there. Or you could bring in Breach. Breaches are nasty.
Okay, it was just an example of a Tau list.
It's an interesting. I'll be interested to see how this does.
You got to remember, Andrew chases the meta like crazy. So if he's built this list, then he thinks it's pretty strong. He doesn't mess around.
Rule of 3 is kind of his target, isn't it? Target of 3 is how he builds a list.
I mean,
have you guys seen just given an advanced taster of some stuff I'm going to talk about in our next episode? Have you guys seen the article that talk about what the new rules are for the Eldar Webway terrain piece?
No,
the big curved gate thing that they have that nobody ever bought, nobody ever used. Cool, it does. Now you get to deploy it in forward positions. It's a terrain piece that has no stat line, so it can't be destroyed. It's just a piece of terrain. And any Eldar stuff that is in reserves can deploy out of it.
Yeah.
Within 9 inches, and can ignore the limitations for being deployed near any models that are nearby. So if you put this gate on the central objective, then the Eldar models can just walk out of it, and if there are enemy models next to it on the central objective, then you can just start in combat with them.
There's going to be some sort of
engagement range.
There's going to be some sort of limitation on where you can place it, right?
Well, it can't be within 9 inches of your enemy's DZ.
To be fair, most central objectives are within 9 inches of your enemy's DZ.
True. But then the radius of that objective will go back a bit, so yeah.
Maybe.
It's easy to negate, but we'll get there. My point being is that is going to screw with some of this stuff, because if you put an avatar into reserves, it can just walk out of this and go straight into combat.
I guess.
Because codex creep is not a thing.
100%.
Slightly.
Next slide. Let's move on.
Next slide. I've had a little play with the list as well, like we did last time. Now, this is more of a getting started list. This isn't one that I've written to tournament staple. It's our normal getting started 1,000-point list. And this is my 1,000 points getting started list. And what I've gone for is I've just gone for a standard crisis commander. I've gone with Exemplar of the Monk Car, which I quite like as a warlord trait. I've stuck 1 fragmentation launcher on there. Because it means I can give them the fancy prototype one, which I quite like. I've stuck a fusion blaster on there. I've given him a burst cannon because it's just a bit of generalist light fire. And he's got a plasma rifle as well, which is pretty good. We like plasma rifles.
What does solid image projection unit do?
So, solid image projection unit is a relic, which I'm just trying to find the full rules for. I think it's quite a good relic. Solid image projection unit. Once per turn, the first time a saving throw is failed for the bearer, the damage characteristic of that attack is changed to 0.
Oh, is that?
And it has a 4+ invuln save.
Right. Okay. You didn't mention that before. I just didn't catch that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty tasty. I've not gone overboard with making him super expensive. And he's got a bit of generous firepower for anything. I've given him the Iridium Battlesuit as well for 2 up armor save. Then I've chucked in an Ethereal, as we discussed earlier, with the hover drone, so he can keep up with things if he needs to. The Humble Stave, and then I've given him Wisdom of the Guides and Sense of Stone. So the 5 up Feel No Pain and the bonus command points. I've stuck a little breach team in there. Breachers can do a lot of damage. They've got good guns, and because I've stuck them all in Borkan, they're all getting 4 inches extra range, which is pretty tasty. I've got a Crisis Suit. I've put a Flamer on every guy. I've put a Plasma Rifle on every guy. I've put a Fusion Blaster on every guy. And I've gone for quite a generalist Crisis build on this one. The Flamer for a bit of anti-infantry, and Charge Deterrent Plasma Rifle for some damage 3, strength 8. Fusion Blaster for killing tanks. Everyone's got a shield generator. There's an Iridium Battlesuit in there. The leader has got the fancy burst cannon that we talked about a minute ago. And I've stuck some shield drones in there.
Okay.
I've also got some Pathfinders. Now, Pathfinders, I think, are really quite powerful now. Because they can, usual units, if they're using the marker lights, they lose the ability to move. Pathfinders can move and marker light.
Okay.
What's their movement? 6? 8?
It's only 6 because they're infantry. Okay. They become really powerful when you start putting them Devilfish, and they start doing some shenanigans with that, because the Devilfish can move, they can disembark, then they can move again, and then they can marker light, which is really, really powerful. But it's a 1,000-point list. We can't.
Devilfish lets them disembark after movement.
They've got a special ability that allows them to do that with Devilfish and Strat.
Right. Okay.
But that gives me a few marker lights to play with. I'm going to acknowledge there's not really enough marker lights in this list, but I was doing the maths on it, and I felt I could put more marker lights, so I could stick a second broadside. Fuck it.
You can always lose a couple of the shield drones on the Crisis Suits.
You could do, but
marker lights.
I think I prefer the shield drones. And then I've stuck
one marker light.
I've got Pathfinders for that.
Okay.
And then I've stuck a couple of broadsides in there as well, and I've gone for the stabilized optics so they can shoot in melee really well. I've gone with the twin spark missiles for a bit of indirect. A couple of shield drones in there to give them a little bit of protection. And it costs £161, which makes an early warning as well for the free 0 CP 5 up Overwatch.
Yeah, your list is just more balanced than Andrew's, and Andrew, as you said, he loves the rule of 3. He goes for the most powerful things, but sometimes I think having a balanced list is the actual way to win games. So I think this would be a fine way to start Tau. Obviously, we haven't dived super deep into all the traits and stuff, but I think we've covered it pretty nicely. I think this is a list. And Borkan, as your set, gives you 4 inches to all your guns, is it?
Yep.
And what's the other part of Borkan? Because there's 2 parts.
That's the strength 7 or lower is -1 damage. Sorry, -1 strength against battle suits, and there's a lot of battle suits in this list.
Yeah, a lot of infantry as well. Okay.
Just going back to your Pathfinders briefly, you were talking about using them to marker light. Can they split fire marker light? So 5 of them point this way, 5 of them point that way.
Yeah, I think they can, but they don't automatically do it. They've got a roll to do it. So you can do that.
Is it just a 3 up? Do it or what?
It's a 3 up to do it.
And it's a 3 up to hit with the marker light, basically.
3 up to hit with the marker light. It's an action, but it's a 3 up to hit.
Yeah, fine. So 5 of them on 3s.
Yeah.
2 or 3 your Pathfinders are going to hit.
Yeah, so you're going to get 2 or 3 marker lights on something from each bit of that. That should be enough marker lights to light something up with your broadsides or your... And the other thing is I've tried to go with a bit of a volume of fire as well. They might be hitting on 4s, but there's a lot of them.
Because a marker light comes off with every unit that fires at the unit that's been marker lit.
Yeah. So I think that should be enough. So it's only a 1,000-point list, like we said.
Yeah, no, it's good.
If I'll go with the bigger list, and I'll probably try and squeeze a few more in there.
You don't know Pathfinders forward deploy or anything like that? or deep strike or pre-game move or anything?
So your Pathfinder team has got a Vanguard move. So at the start of the first battle round, models in this unit can make a normal move up to 7 inches.
Yeah.
So they do have a Vanguard move.
But they have to deploy inside the deployment zone.
But they have to deploy inside the deployment zone.
Okay.
Like I say, they become really good when you start sticking them in Devilfish.
Yeah, that's fair.
But on that smaller table, that should be enough to get them into marker light range. And that's really their main purpose in this list.
What's the marker light range? I mean, to be honest, I'm more interested in line of sight and being able to hide from the marker lights turn 1 than I am the range for marker lights.
Let me
I want to say
find...
it's 24 inches from marker lights.
I'm just there we go. So marker lights action. One or more marker light units from your army can start to perform this action at the start of the movement phase. End for Pathfinders. That's why they're so good. The action is completed at the start of your next shooting phase. If the action is successfully completed, for each model in that unit that's equipped with one or more marker lights, for each marker light that model is equipped with, select one enemy unit within 36 inches of that model.
Okay.
That model would be an eligible target for the model had it been selected to shoot.
So they'll cover the whole
Needs
board,
line of
basically.
sight. On a 3+, it gets a marker light.
Okay.
So that's a fair amount. So this is a getting started list. The only thing that I do apologise for, because I do try and keep this bit down a little bit normally when I'm doing these getting started lists, £261. Sorry.
It needs must. Inflation.
Inflation.
The world's gone mad. There's nothing
This
to do
is-
about it.
But
I was
this will
playing
do.
with it. You can build a cheaper army, but this is not. If you're looking for a cheap army, don't pick this one.
This will do you a taste of basically everything
This
a
has
Tau
got a bit
army
of
can
everything
and
in there.
will do.
But yeah,
Nice.
it is. The Tower are an expensive army to collect,
Fuck Tau.
unfortunately.
Okay.
So I think that is it for the Tau talk.
I think so.
Um,
I think we,
I still don't have a really clear idea on what to do to beat these things. I've come out of this with a sense of what they're capable of, but I'm still not crystal clear on how I beat them.
no, I mean, I think they're
they're tough to
to
mess
beat.
with, aren't
Yeah, I think they'll be like top 3 in the meta at the moment. Custodes.
It's the mobility that worries me.
they? It's the mobility and the sheer alpha strike potential. They can pop
It's a
out of
fact.
cover before you can do anything and just kill almost indiscriminately.
Mobility will allow them to draw a bead on almost anything that you can hide.
Yeah. So it's just going to have to be about trading. You're going to have to try and make them lose an expensive unit for one of your cheap ones, and that's just going to be all down to the general
Yeah,
and
it's a
playing
tough one.
really well.
At least if they deploy to Alpha Strike you, then they'll lose 50% of their game.
It's like
They'll lose
breaches
the
are
first
great,
turn.
but breaches come out in the Devilfish or whatever. They take the central objectives, they kill whatever's around them, but then they're just 4-up save toughness 3 guys with 1 wound.
Yeah, do you know what? I want to say something to your point, Mark. I never deploy aggressive. As you've seen me play 100 games, right? I never deploy aggressive with like my infiltrators, my incursors, whatever. I'm always keeping them because I always think that if your unit's alive in turn 3, 4, and 5 as a Blood Angels player, it's worth twice what it was in turn 1 and 2, right? Because the extra attack, the extra EP, etc. Against Tau, although Andrew went first, I think I deployed everything like right on the front line. It's like I have to come at this army.
I don't think you can deploy. You can try and sort of deploy
Cagey.
right back because he's just going to be able to pick you apart without you being able to retaliate. If that's the case,
Yeah, and my thought was
you're
like,
going to have to kill him before he kills you. Is how you play with these guys.
if
And
I can,
whether the hits you take on the
Yeah.
way.
yeah, if I can put a unit of incursors 9 inches from his deployment zone and move 6 forward, and then get a charge off on like the Storm Surge or something, and they're never going to kill a Storm Surge, but what it's going to do is it's going to mean he's going to either have to fall back, he's going to take -1 to hit, whatever, like just get some stuff into combat. Death Company as a Blood Angels player would actually be really good with a Forlorn Fury against these.
I'm really feeling Death Company at the moment. They are,
The points drop has certainly helped them.
yeah, definitely. But even using some of the other armies, I think getting up in their faces, you've got to kill more than he kills quicker than he kills them.
Yeah,
it's basically how you got to play these. You can't fanny about. You're going to get shot to pieces if you try it.
all right.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on then. So we are at my favourite part of the day. The bit where Mark points out my spelling mistake.
Have you deliberately not changed it this time, or did you just forget?
I looked at it and thought, you know what? Fuck it.
Fine.
Pile of glory. I love it. I can't. It's Pile of Glory, guys. If you're watching for the first time, it should be Pile of Glory, but apparently we can't update the slide. It's like that bit in Red Dwarf when he's like, "Sir, go to Red Alert," and he's like, "Are you 100% sure you want to go to Red Alert?"
Changing the light bulb.
It does mean changing the bulb. Yeah, that's literally what the slide has become.
So much.
Yeah. Let's have a look what we got going on.
Yeah, let's see what we got going on.
It's going to be different next episode. Fucking promise you.
Really?
Yes.
It looks
You know why?
We bought Eldritch Omens and just played Horizon.
No. I mean, the previous slide is going to be different next episode.
All right, yeah, we will have changed the bulb.
And it's going to be different because I'm fucking writing it. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
right. This is what I've been up to for the last 2 weeks.
How was Forbidden West?
It is a beautiful, stunningly gorgeous, amazingly great game. It's a fairly standard open world with a map full of objective markers that you go around and do stuff, but I'm playing it on a PS4 and it is fucking gorgeous. It's
not
beautiful.
a PS5 game then? I thought it was a...
It's on PS4 and PS5. I do not own a PS5. I own a PS4 Pro. But I do have a 4K telly with HDR, and it is stunning. Disclaimer, fair disclaimer, I do work in the video games industry. The company I work for has links with Sony, so take my bias if you wish to take it or not take it. I love this game. It's great. I've been playing it fairly non-stop since Friday. But hey, there we go. And Eldritch Omens, because I've appeared to have developed a bit of a thing for Eldar, and the new unit refresh is looking very nice. I bought 2 boxes of that.
But any other? I think there's a lot of other squads, right, that they've been announcing.
Oh yeah. There's gonna be a new model for Dark Reapers and their Phoenix Lord. There's a new avatar model which I'm not going to buy because I've already got a fairly cool avatar. But I'm going to put a bigger base on him.
That new Dark Reaper Phoenix Lord, Mugen Ra, isn't he?
Morgan Ra, yeah, it looks very, very cool.
He is gorgeous. That model is so pretty.
Can I ask one question though? How do you feel about the 2 warlocks for 32?
My initial reaction was fuck that hard. But somebody pointed out to me, and this does make sense, is that currently they sell a warlock for 18 quid on foot, or a Farseer for 18 quid on foot. So it's actually a tiny little bit of a saving, which I was not expecting.
It's slightly cheaper than it currently is.
Yeah. However, Morgan Ra for 27 quid can get in the bin. Screw that.
Yeah, I was going to say some of the characters are kind of getting a bit ridiculous. Like
I mean, he's big, he's bulky, he's very pretty.
Did you guys buy the new Gravis breed? How much was he?
No, because of his stupid shot trap head.
Okay.
No, because I own an old Gravis Captain, and I'm just going to cut his power sword off, put a chainsaw on it instead.
Is that the fat captain? The fat one?
It's the one from the old starter set.
Yeah. Weirdly, he's got a belly that would put me to shame.
Dude, you and I can't talk about people with bellies.
I worked hard on this. I haven't got a 6-pack. I've got a keg.
Oh yeah,
good one.
So yeah, I've been putting pennies in the bottoms of bases and getting my Eldar ready to be built. I haven't built a single one of them because I'm waiting for the codex to come out, and I've read all the leaks and spoilers and stuff, and it's all well and good, but I want to read the
Is there a lot of weapons
full details. On the Rangers, no weapons options at all. They've got a sniper rifle.
So really, what you're saying here is you're making excuses because there's only one way you can.
No. Shut up. That one there that's got the tiny little floating red thing in there.
Yeah.
That's got options as whether you take one with the little pointy bits to stick down or pointy bits to stick up, and they do different bits of war gear. And I don't think that the Shroud Runner jet bikes in the back have got options as per the data sheet that is in the Eldritch Omens box. But they might do in the final codex, and I'm not completely sure. So I'll wait and see.
Okay. Sounds fun. Cool. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
What have you been up to, John?
I have been very, very slowly painting these damn Terminators. I think
Why has that man got an intercessor head?
The fuck? Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Because he's...
Did you lose his real head?
No, I just thought that...
Did it get eaten by the baby and puked out over your shoulder?
I thought I would just try a Primaris head on a Terminator? I mean, that's like the ultimate sacrilege to the people that
Terminators
love Primaris
are,
and Firstborn.
gorgeous.
That does look kind of wrong. I'm sorry.
It's sacrilegious. It's awful.
I thought it looked okay. I've
seen people make Primaris Terminators using Terminator heads in Primaris Gravis bodies, and that could look quite good.
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought it looked okay. I mean, I'm going to give him like a gold.
I like
He's
the
gonna use
character
Sergeant.
it adds to your model, and it makes it yours, and I will never do it because it looks disgusting.
Okay.
Sorry.
Really disgusting. And every time I look at that, I think, you lost a head, didn't you?
I think I actually.
And you're just making excuses that you couldn't find his head.
lose the head. No, I just do stupid things, I guess, to my models. If he didn't have a bullet trap round the back, I might have given him like a Sangre Guard face.
If you're a Blood Angels Commander channel watching this, take the piss out of John on that and offer to send him like little just single Terminator heads in the post because he clearly hasn't got enough of them. He's got to replace them with Intercessor.
And have you
helmets.
noticed that it's only a shot trap if you put that stupid Intercessor head on it? Because if you put the Terminator heads, it doesn't cover
It
it.
doesn't fit.
There
in.
isn't a gap.
Did I ever show you my scouts that I made with Sangre Guard masks?
No, you didn't.
I will
No.
need to show you them because they're not actually. I hate the scout models, so I bought the Necromunda Palatine Enforcers.
Yeah.
Do you know
Right,
them?
yeah.
And I painted them like their knee pads and their chest pieces like red, and then for the leader of the squad,
Those ones?
That one indeed. For
Yeah.
the leader of the squad, I put a Sangre Guard mask on it. I mean, I have to send you a photo of that just in the next.
Isn't that a little bit sort of oversized compared to the body?
It's a little bit, but let's face it. I mean, I'm playing for fun, and I need to know who's the
Okay, all right.
sergeant. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the proportions. To be totally honest.
Yeah, I got Necromunda, just hence those.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it there. I actually resprayed my like 1990s metal Goliath gang.
I used to have metal Delacs. I had a Delac shotgun cowboys or whatever with all of the trench coats and I loved those guys, and I cannot find them for the life of me. And what the other thing that I have got is I've still got my 90s Necromunda Arbites gang.
Okay.
You used to have your
I
squad
did
of
like
Arbites.
them when they were called Arbites.
They were cool.
You never guess what my Metal Necromunda gang was back in the day.
Go on then.
Spires.
Oh, of course it was.
Of course it was.
They
Fucking
were
Spire
broken as
Hunters.
fuck.
Yes, they were. I loved them. They were great.
I was a Mordheim player though, really. Oh, check this out. We're going to talk about old shit. I went over my mum and dad's the other day, and I rummaged through some old cupboards. The Mordheim rulebook.
Mm-hmm.
The Heavy Metal Masterclass,
Okay.
which has got the original walkthrough from Darren Latham when he did the first Sanguinius model
Okay.
Okay, cool.
with all the non-metallic metals. Old White Dwarf genuinely got me into Blood Angels.
I'm gonna say it's not
Very nice.
There's a Hellblaster on
It's not, fuck off.
it. Trolley.
And the 2 Imperial Armor Masterclass books.
Wow.
I was super excited to find these because it's full of. This is back when GW would let him Forge World do more or less whatever they wanted. So it's got advice in it, like using Tamiya paints and things like that.
All right, if you're doing this shit, there must be something in the wind because I did something very, very similar recently.
Just had to rummage around and found something cool.
Yeah, basically. From my mum's place fucking years ago. So I've found this old book from
Oh, that was
bloody ages ago.
5th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battles.
Yeah. I never actually bought the army, but I intended to, so I bought the book. It's a gorgeous book, still really good condition. And I got
Better condition than my 5th
an old
edition book.
white dwarf from the time I got back into it and everything.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you kept it in cellophane.
No, I
Nice.
eBayed it in cellophane. I didn't
right.
keep it.
Yep, mine are all like battered to shit because I've read them 1,000 times and all the rest of it.
You know what? I liked in the old White Dwarfs, where when you flick to the back, speaking of heads, I could have bought a single head because back in the day, every single individual part had
And they let you do that.
had a number on it,
And then
you
mail
could
order
just
would pick
order
the
it.
little bits, yeah.
I missed that.
Check this out. Look at this. Look. The old mail order trolls.
Yeah,
There is the original Mega Paint set. Now, I was looking in here
With
talking to
the
this
worst
stuff.
lids for a paint pot in the world ever. God, they were bad.
Do you know someone after the last episode contacted me afterwards
Yeah.
An old mate that I haven't spoken to for a while to send me a pot of tin bits.
Oh, brilliant.
Check that out. That was 25 quid that bought you. Look at that. Would you get that for 25 quid now?
You might get the kind of spray paint.
You might get the kind of spray paint.
But inflation, man. Inflation's mental.
Yeah.
If you go back and look, inflation from the 1990s is probably like 200 or 300%.
That box of old metal Terminators from back in the day where you'd get 10 metal Terminators would have been like 15, 16 quid.
I know.
Yeah, I remember Rhinos when they were $9.99.
Yeah, that was most of like 3rd and 4th edition. They were still that cheap.
And we still couldn't afford them then, so it's basically the same as it is these days, to be honest. But...
You get older, you get more money, but unfortunately Warhammer keeps going up in price.
Yeah.
So, last one then, shit that I've been up to. So I've been working on a battle-ready Knights commission. So in the week, because this is a week since we last did some stuff, I've built 3 armigers. I've built a big one. I've started to get some base coats down. I'm just starting to do the oils on them now. I was trying to get kind of like a bit of a color gradient on the colors to make them a bit more interesting. Because, like I said, this is battle ready. This is speed painting Knights. But I've still got 2 big Forge World ones to build. And I've got about 3 weeks to get them built and painted. And I'm going to cry if I can get this done.
And future plans as well. The time you watch this, this will have gone live on Thursday, the 3rd of March, which would mean that in 2 days' time, Saturday, the 5th of March, Tony and I will be experiencing the Warhammer World 25th anniversary. Stupid day of stupid. So
hold on, you guys will be at Warhammer World, 2 days after this video goes live?
Yep.
Yes, we'll be.
Oh, perfect. Then you need to...
That'll be exciting. Maybe we'll see some of you there. We don't know. If we do see
you.
some of you, come and say hello.
And I'll be handing over this prime piece of loot right here to the good Mr. Tony himself.
Yep. And I'm very excited about it. And
Yeah.
I may have contacted Forge World to add something to go with that piece of loot that has been missing from my collection for some time. Which I'm fingers crossed will be ready.
I was going to say, are you going to enter it into my painting competition? Because you're going to have to get going.
I don't think I'm allowed to, am I? Can I enter a painting competition that I'm judging?
I guess not. It is going to be blind, though, so you could be like,
That
that looks like a pretty good model.
Yeah, look at that guy's model. He's done a great job.
That painting job on that one.
Yeah. That guy looks suspiciously familiar. Didn't we see him in an episode? I ain't got time for painting more stuff than goes on this.
I was going to say, 2 more nights, you're going to be busy. Busy.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Trying to paint a Knight's army in a week.
You're crazy.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good for a week.
Nice base.
Oh, cheers. They'll be snowy when they're finished.
Okay.
But you're just going to dry brush white over the top of them or something?
No, I'll use some snow effects and just plonk them on.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, I mean, that kind of wraps us for this
week. As if a baby was puking all over the bases. That sort of effect.
I can help you with that if you want. No problem.
I forgot to remove the brush soap from the corner of the shot as well.
Oh, that spoiled the photo for me.
It did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not that I was using a box file as a spray booth.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps it this week, right?
It does. I think that's it. That's a lot.
So
Were we quicker than last time?
Tiny
Not
bit.
really.
Tiny bit. We aim for 90 minutes. We're usually like 2 hours, 15 minutes. There's a lot to get through with the new Tau. I think we did it justice.
We have barely tickled the surface of what they're capable of.
I think that's all we could get through in the amount of time that we have. If people like stuff where they want us to dive into more, that's totally
we can go
fine.
much more detail.
You can request it in the comments. The podcast episodes are only usually arranged like 1 or 2 weeks in advance, so we can definitely react to things or take suggestions.
Yeah, and we are paying attention to the competitive meta around the world, and we are keeping an eye on things and what's doing well and what's not doing well, and we'll see how things play out really as there's a tournament start to come out, and then when Eldar come out and smash everybody.
Yeah. The plan for the next episode will be one of these, hopefully discussing Eldar.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm looking forward to it because I haven't got to write the fucking PowerPoint.
That's fair, and I will have a few days to do it. It'll be great.
Any mistakes, it's because I wrote it at midnight last night.
No, it was a good part. You know, I'm playing Tau on Monday, and I feel like I know a lot more about what I need to deal with.
And what you're likely to face and what it's likely to do to you.
Yeah.
Which will help you target priorities, which will help you deal with them. Yeah.
We haven't done a great job of how to kill the Tau, have we, with this episode?
If nothing else, it gives you a better idea on what you want to do your target priorities to kill first.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, know your enemy is something that we often say. Master your own army, and then you have to master everybody else's. So this is
you're going to run, if you go competitive, you're going to run into a lot of Tau at the moment.
Yeah, and this is a good dive into...
For at least the next 6 months,
into what the army can do. We think they're pretty strong. They could probably... Do you know, we haven't... Do you think we'll see a FAQ for Custodes? Do you think we'll see a
We've already came out 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah.
And it was absolutely warranted. So we might as well very quickly touch on that because we have just only released a Custodes episode and we have seen it. And what it did was it removed that stupid thing people were saying you could do about unleashing the lions after you've changed what shield host they were while they're still in orbit. So they can all teleport down separately and all have reroll charges and that sort of silly shit. They've said, no, you can't do that. They're in orbit. You can't play strats on them, which nobody should have been doing anyway.
Okay.
So
any of the points changes?
Fair.
No.
Sorry?
No points changes.
No. And the other thing they did was some people were saying, we said last lesson.
They
we
fixed
said
Praetorian
last about the heroic intervention from the Praetorian Plate, but it's not a heroic intervention. And some people were saying that because it wasn't, it meant he was untargetable.
Which technically is true.
Which there clearly wasn't designed. Untargetable teleporting daddies is fun, but not really.
So it counts as a
heroic intervention. No, it's a heroic intervention by another name.
Which means that you can target them legitimately when they heroically intervene you.
Because as much as we all like having powerful stuff to play with, broken stuff's no fun for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. I'm behind the curve, I guess, this week, so thanks for cluing me up.
No worries. There was a Gene Stealer cult FAQ as well that no one gives a fuck about. So
GSC. Who plays the fuck GSC?
I mean, we should. We really should.
We should. I've got some here because I bought that. I've got that Shadow Throne.
You've got fucking everything.
No. Let's be fair. In the latest Goonhammer Meta Watch article that's come out today or yesterday, or whenever it was, Gene Stealer cults were in 2 of the final matchups for both of them, and I'm fairly sure Nanavati was playing Gene Stealer cults as one of them as well. So
I haven't got the book for them. And not being funny, I've got... You guys know I do a bit of commission work and things. I've got sitting in this room at the moment, I've got a Tau Barracuda, I've got 2 Storm Surges, I've got 3 Hammerheads sitting in here, I've got some broadside battle suits and the other half of the Knights Army. So I'll get to the GSC later.
Indeed.
Yeah, no, the GSC won a GT in the place that I
lived. It did, yeah.
Optimus Prime says knowing is half the battle.
Knowing.
And on that note, remember, click the like and subscribe because we've got a reputation to maintain.
It makes me happy if you do that.
Very happy.
I'm wearing my gloves, just in case anyone was wondering.
We're not sure if it's a fashion statement or if it's too cheap to turn the heating
You're not
on.
going to wave tonight, Mark. You've
bit of column A. I'm just making you wave for fucking ages. It becomes really awkward.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm sure you are. You get lots
Peace,
of
guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
I'll catch you next time.
See you later.